then we'll do the normal stuff and should be live within a couple minutes.
Awesome. I do like whenever we're ready to
That's
do
good.
like the sync, we both are like rubbing our hands back and forth like something magical is gonna
It's
happen.
going to happen. Like, well, I wasn't gonna say a Dragons win, but that might be wishing for too much.
They're playing the mayhem.
Although it's mayhem, so this is a team that got shut out essentially in a map. So who knows? Like, Dia might
Yeah,
pop off. You never know.
that that map is why I'm just like I don't know if I can cheer for them anymore.
Right. All right. Let me go post in all the places.
I was disappointed Spider didn't include some of our cheeky shenanigans
Oh yeah.
in the in the pods. You're like, well, what about the shenanigans we had on Horizon Lunar Colony?
Right. That's all right. There's time for like filler stuff later. But that stuff's really been blowing up today.
Yeah, yeah, that's what you kind of said. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
It's just a matter of whether or not we can turn those into subscribers.
True.
Because that's really what we need at this point is to get our custom URL just to make it easy on people. Time to go through all of the discords. Yeah. So the only problem with Discord is that to go through like a list of 40 just to get everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I am good there. Tweet is out. I should go retweet that on all the places. Tweet. Retweet. Tweet. Good times.
Tweet, retweet, tweet.
Quote, tweet, retweet. Get some people in here.
Yeah, I'm a little upset. My other show, we have not gotten affiliated.
No?
No, and the thing is, I mean, we have 60 followers
Right.
and we average, I don't know, 15, 16 viewers each episode. And nothing's happened.
Hmm.
So it's like, all right,
That's weird.
guess not.
Speaking of stuff, we have 1,000 views on our Twitch page officially. Woohoo!
Yay! Dude, and we're killing it in downloads for Heroes Never Die too.
Dude, it's been ridiculous. Like, I was like, okay, I'm like, okay, I think we're starting to see the plateau. No.
And then it goes up. You're like,
Yeah,
all right.
like it's been crazy. Hold on, where's the monthly shit? If it loads the damn table view. Or it just might not load at all, it could do that too. That would be fantastic. What the hell? Let me reload. It's being difficult, probably because I have the window smaller. But regardless, like I was looking back at our December numbers, like before 100, and like I compare that to where we are now, and it's almost triple for
That's
the
insane.
month. Yeah, it's crazy.
And like it's gone up, and the length of our episodes have gone up, which is something that I feel is pretty rare because usually the longer episodes get.
Opposite. Yeah, last week was the exception just because Draven was on a time crunch, so we compacted it quite a bit.
Yeah. Ugh, I was not in good shape last week.
Yeah, I hear you. It happens. All right. I should be all ready to go. You good?
I am all good. Let me know when to mute my mic for the intro.
You can just do it now, and I'll
I
kick out the sounder.
I will mute now.
All right, sounds good. Going now.
You are listening to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all the latest news, Overwatch League results, and mishaps in Overwatch. Here are your hosts, Totemly Drunk and Edinar.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to Heroes Never Die, your one-stop spot for all things Overwatch. I am your host, Totemly Drunk, and tonight on episode 114, we're going to discuss the latest developer update, major changes that had hit the PTR, some MVP stand-ins for the Overwatch League, see some drastic shifts, and so much more. It's been one of those weeks, probably the biggest news week since Overwatch launch, maybe like to the same extent where we got all like the Overwatch League team announcements. It's been one of those weeks. Like we were kind of like going into this week. We're like, okay, we got a day's amount of stuff, and then yesterday, like the past couple of days, it's just been like an info dump, right? So like we have probably about twice as much shit to cover tonight as we normally do. So apologies in advance if, we're still above that 2-hour mark or a little bit over more than we normally are. We try to compact some of the other stuff around to kind of combat that. But that being said, we got a lot of great stuff to talk about here tonight. A lot of great changes that could definitely play the way that people are going to be playing Overwatch and hopefully not be asshats. So that's a huge plus right there. But before we get into the news, guys, and introduce you to my co-host, I just want to take a moment to thank everyone who is hanging out with us here tonight over in our Twitch chat for our live show, and thank all of our repeat listeners. So, as you can see, back with me yet again is my co-host, the man charging through Symmetra teleporters like there is no tomorrow, Edinar. Edinar, welcome back, man. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be back. I was sick last week, so I couldn't make it, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I came back and like you, I was like, okay, come Monday. I'm like, all right, we got a few things to go over. This will be a good week. Got some interesting OWL matches to go over. Then all of a sudden it's like, all right, they dropped something. All right, we'll add that. All right, they dropped like 5 more things. Okay, we're getting a little busy. Like, all right. And then the next day they dropped a couple more things. They're like, all right, you can stop. You just go ahead and put a full stop on dropping things, but I mean, I'm not going to complain. The information is nice to have, but it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, I am the Reinhardt who charges through the Symmetra teleports right now. Although it did take me like 3 or 4 tries because I didn't realize I had to hit a button as soon as I hit the teleport. I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't working. I don't know what it is. It must be a bug or something.
This isn't interacting like how it normally would. You just walk right through it and then it's fine.
Yeah, like what is this? And you know that's going to be an issue, but we'll talk about that later. So how's your week been, Totem?
It's been pretty good. Last week I was kind of on like my staycation, so I didn't have to work. Got a decent amount of Overwatch time in. Spent a lot of time with the family. Did some movie nights. Made a bunch of cotton candy. So yeah, that was fun.
I saw you in comp matches.
Yeah. So I did all of my competitive FFA placements here while you were away. And yeah, I talked about that kind of last week. I haven't really touched comp FFA since. Just because, it's a mode that's not really made for competitive, but I did do a couple of my like normal placements, and I gotta tell you, like it was awful. Like I played 3 games. I think I'm at like 4 of 10 right now for my placements. But it's like every game, it was basically like a copy and paste situation between the 3 games that I played. Basically, there were absolutely 0 team communication going on, so no comms at all. No one was calling anything out, anything like that. I basically waited to fill whatever role we needed, which was either off tank or main support. There were a couple of times where I had a solo heal on Mercy, or I had a like solo tank. And I'm not the best main tank, and really my only main tank option that I'm pretty good at is Winston, which doesn't necessarily work all that well in this meta. So there were times where I'm like, can we get an off tank? And, people don't say anything. And, we had a Brigitte, which that doesn't count. I mean, yes, there's a little bit more frontline presence, but you really need an actual off tank, not like an off tank,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there were just times where, like, the DPS combinations just made absolutely zero sense for comp. Like, I got a lot of, like, McCree and Doomfist, which didn't necessarily work. Like, I could understand running the Doomfist if we had, like, a Zarya. That way he has extra protection when he goes in and, tries to keep himself up. Or, get in the Space Jam wombo combo, go in. But that was not the case. So, yeah, it was a rough go. And neither one of those 3 games was even close. They were all blowouts, all losses. And, yeah, it was an experience. I will leave it at that. So...
Makes you really want to do the remaining ones?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to say I was as tilted as some of the games I've played on PS4 the past week, which was virtually identical to those games, except, I really have no way to communicate, because, I have a mic, but no one else seems to, apparently, on PS4, even though everyone gets a mic with, their PS4. So that's a thing. But I'll talk more about, PS4 stuff later, because there are some changes that kind of makes me raise my eyebrows in regards to how this is going to work on console. So we'll get to that shortly. So let's go ahead and jump into this hectic news week. So let's start off with, the anniversary event. It is coming to an end on June 11th, and we got the last week worth of Brawl coming up. So we got the schedule. So in regards to the rotation for the remainder of the event... tomorrow is Thursday. We have Uprising. On Friday, we have Retribution. Saturday, we get Lucio Ball. And then Sunday, we have Junkenstein Endless, with Monday being everyone's least favorite, Snowball Offensive. I'm not gonna say everyone's. I mean, I know I'm definitely in the majority that does not care for May Snowball Offensive.
I'll do Mystery Heroes over Snowball Offensive.
I would absolutely agree. So not the best way to kind of cap things off. But like, this is your last chance to really play these brawls before they head back into the vault, really, or until they come back with their respective yearly event if it doesn't see drastic changes like we have with some of them. So really, like, I just want to talk about just the weekly brawls that we have been getting. How much time have you actually been spending in the arcade doing the weekly brawls in the rotation?
Well, it all depends for me personally, because now I bought a 3rd account on my PC, so 3 on the PC, 1 on the PS4. I've been spending a lot of time in these arcade modes, depending on the event that's coming up. So the Overwatch Uprising, Retribution, and Junkenstein, I've just been chain running those, because those are, in arcade, to get skins and loot boxes, crazy easy wins.
Right.
Guaranteed win every time, essentially. So it's like, I've been running those when they're up, nonstop, get my 9 wins, and I'm good. If it's Yeti Hunt Snowball Offensive, I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Lucio Ball, see, I don't mind Lucio Ball. I suck at it.
Right.
Like, horribly. Like, I could never play Rocket League. But I get why it's fun. It's like Snowball Offensive and Yeti Hunt, I don't get why they're fun. Lucio Ball, I do. So, but it's just not my cup of tea. So, Uprising, Retribution, Junkenstein, I love those events. I will play them endlessly. And that's what I use to get my, 9 arcade wins for the past week on all 3 accounts. Not on my PS4, because I don't play that often. I might this weekend though, but
definitely.
But yeah, no, like I really like it, because it's a great way to get easy loot boxes, and that's really the reason people play arcade. It's not like people are playing like, hey, let's go play arcade because that's the best mode. No, people play arcade because it's the best way to get loot boxes to get more cosmetic items.
And it's a way to blow off steam. Or not, if you're doing Comp
It's-
FFA. I mean,
Yeah. Or if you're doing Yeti Hunt, like, I'm sorry, I've never been as frustrated as I have before on freaking Yeti Hunt. Been like, no, 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 you need to get away from the Winston when, no, okay, yeah, you just died. Okay, fair enough. You stayed in, okay, never mind. Just stay in front of the Winston, let him kill you. So, like, it's Snowball Offensive and Yeti Hunt are infuriating to me. Uprising, Retribution, and Junkenstein are like, all right, I don't really care who you pick. We're gonna win anyway. So, I'll just pick Moira and dominate. That's basically what it comes down to. It's like, oh, I'm gonna go Moira and I'm gonna basically heal all of you and do all the damage anyway. So it's fun. It's one of those things. Take advantage of it while you can, because like you said, they're not going to be back around until their next event. Like Lucio Ball, I think is probably the next one coming up. Like next actual event coming up in like July or August. July, August, something like that is when it normally comes up. So that's probably we're going to get that back. But like Junkenstein and Yeti Hunt and Snowball Offensive, those are winter things. We're going to have to wait like 7 months to get that kind of stuff. So, take advantage of it while you can. Get those loot boxes and get your favorite skins, aka buy every Christmas skin you can. I have bought every Christmas skin I could possibly get on all 3 accounts.
yeah, for me, it's mostly been I've been playing a ton of Lucio Ball because out of all the events outside of Junkenstein, because Junkenstein's still by far miles ahead of everything else. But Lucio Ball is probably the event that I'm the best at. And I'm not a Rocket League player. I never really have been. I haven't played it on PC or tried it on PC. I have played it a little bit on the PS4, and I'm not terrible at it. I'm not like the greatest at it, but I am 100 times better at Lucio Ball than I am Rocket League overall. And I like that mode. It's a different one. I like the pace of that one. And, the individual play that you can do on that one, I feel like kind of far exceeds some of the other brawls in that aspect. So, that's kind of been, like, my favorite one to kind of, like, get, like, highlights and clips in regards to, like, my YouTube channel. Just because, you can get some pretty sick goals overall.
No, okay, that was going to be my question. Are you going to be a scorer, or do you tend to stay back as goalie?
Oh, if I start in the goal, like, whenever a goal is scored, I will stick to that position.
Okay, so you'll stick, because a lot of people leave the goalie.
Yeah, a lot of people just don't goalie, and I'm like, what do you do? Have you ever played soccer in your life? You don't leave an open net. I mean, I guess that's true for hockey, too. I mean, unless you have a man advantage, which you don't in this case. And, it's so easy for someone to just loop right around you and just boop it in if you leave an open net. So, yeah, don't do that. But in regards to the other stuff, Junkenstein has been the one that I've been playing the most extensively, just because that one is my favorite. And, I was kind of curious. I'm like, okay, I know McCree is still in here. So I want to see if I was going to have any kind of fall off in regard to how I was doing with archives, because McCree was kind of like my go-to in archives, and I was landing like 60% of my shots in that event. And when I went to McCree in this one, it was like 58%, so really not that much of a difference between the two, so I was pretty happy about that. And I also tried quite a bit of Ana in that mode as well, and I have to say, like, I have never been good at Ana, and that has not changed. Like she... I feel like when I'm shooting with her increased magazine size, I feel like my projectiles are slightly off. And I don't know if that's just me or if that's just a different feel or what. Something just doesn't quite seem right to me about her right now, and I can't quite put my finger on it. I mean, I could just be awful at sniping, which I already know is the case, but, there's a bit more forgiveness with Ana compared to the other snipers in the game. So that's a work in progress. That will probably forever be a work in progress. I'm probably never going to main Ana or pick Ana over any other healer in any situation, unless it is for this mode, because that's really the only time I ever play her. But or Anna Paintball. I mean, that's I don't have another option there. So really, like, I'll more than likely end up playing those two. Maybe a little bit of Retribution, all in all. But more than likely, it'll just be a week of Junkenstein on Sunday to get all, 3 loot boxes and 9 wins, if I'm not already there from doing Mystery Heroes at that point. So all in all, like, it's been great kind of revisiting these prior brawls. I've had a lot of fun with this event. While I haven't had as much time to play, I have acquired some of the skins that I have missed. And, I know you mentioned that, you were picking up a lot of the Christmas stuff, but, how much do you think you would say that you've spent in regards to your currency on acquiring these prior skins?
So I came into this event on my main account on Adnar, with about 10,000 currency. I came into the event like that, and then I bought the 50 loot box pack as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot more. So I went up to about 12,000, 13,000, right around there. I'm down to 6 now. So I have a 6,000 left. I've got some. There's a couple others that I might buy. The issue is last year over this the anniversary event, I wasn't really playing the game, and I was on vacation for a portion of the game, so I got none of the dance emotes. And I'm like, oh, I need to get the dance emotes. So I went out, after the 50 loot box things, any dance emotes I didn't have, I went and bought the dance emotes. So that set me back a little bit. And then I bought a couple of the holiday skins. I bought the Nutcracker Zenyatta one.
Yeah, the golden nuts.
The golden nuts. Nobody who doesn't like a couple of nuts flying at the face. But I mean, so I got a bunch of that. So there's still a few more. I really like some of the skins from this anniversary event that I'm hoping I get. And I mean, I want to spend the currency to get them, but I don't know if I want to spend the 3,000 for them, because I want to get the Orisa skin, which I have not gotten, and I want to get the Hanzo skin. I haven't gotten the Hanzo skin yet. So those are the 2 skins I want to get, but I don't know if I want to spend the 3,000 currency to get them when I could get 3 $1,000 currency legendary skins for the same price.
Right.
So it's gonna be a difficult decision that ultimately means nothing. But but I want my skins because I like to change them up. So how much currency have you spent?
I honestly haven't spent that much, but that's because in a lot of the events, I had always been buying the large loot box bundles. So I've basically been able to acquire a majority of this stuff. It's just with the last couple of events from this year that I haven't really gone out of my way to do that. So for me, this event, it's not really so much getting old stuff. It's just trying to get some of the other stuff by actually earning loot boxes. I haven't really been spending that much, but I know I did. I'm trying to remember which skins I bought. I know I bought some of the old Summer Game skins from the first year.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been about it for the most part. So I really haven't spent that much. I did get some of the dance emotes that I was missing, because that was really the only other thing that really stood out to me. But that could change. I still have a pretty decent stockpile, so if there's anything else that I see that I want, I'll definitely be picking that up.
I do want to pick up, I think I have the Zarya emote where she unpacks a present. I do not have the Orisa puppy one. I might have to get that. I don't have the Diva sitting down playing a video game. Yeah, I don't have those. So those may be purchases over skins that I get, because I mean, yeah, I might have to buy those.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the anniversary event, we also kind of got a little bit of lore kind of sprinkled in with some character interactions that I wanted to make note of. So the first one was between Mercy and Lucio, where Mercy basically makes note of Lucio's weaponry. And we basically like find out that Lucio's father was the one who had invented Vishkar's sonic technology. So Lucio kind of responds, the core tech was his life's work, owned and patented by Vishkar, but it's mine now. So, like, right now, like, we still don't know whether or not, like, Lucio actually stole the technology, or if he was trying to basically recover it from, Vishkar, like the organization that had that stuff, obviously, they were corporate thieves, essentially, and, another character kind of, has kind of played a major role in that as well, which we'll definitely talk about, and that is Symmetra. So, Symmetra basically gave her opinion on the matter, and she said that Lucio's father was a Vishkar employee. He understood the company's vision, and that it's a shame that he had never educated Lucio. So, Symmetra's always snappy with some of her voice lines. So really, like, the big question is that we don't know is what exactly happened to Lucio's father. Is he dead? Because she kind of talks about him in past tense. So is he missing? Is he dead? Who knows? But like, I feel like right now, like, we need more lore on Lucio and Symmetra because they are so kind of intertwined, So there's more to it here. And then we also kind of got a little bit of information in regards to Symmetra and Talon, where she says that my purpose is to create order, and then she was talking to Doomfist in this case, and she told Doomfist that you are the embodiment of chaos. So, yeah, she is kind of seen as, like, this chaotic, neutral character in a way, but she does not want to align with Talon.
Yeah, but she's unknowingly part of them. Like, because her boss has been in the comics, they say, working for Talon. And so by working for them, she works for Talon. Like, I mean, she may not know it, she may not be for it, but she's being used to work for them. And like, it's one of those things that when you think of, like, in Overwatch, you think of the good guys and the bad guys. So Talon, generally bad guys, Overwatch, good guys. That's kind of how you see it. Like Alliance versus Horde. Alliance good, Horde bad. Symmetra's the one where I'm like, I can't tell. Like, there's a couple of characters like that. Like, I can't tell if she's good or bad. Like Zarya. I don't know if Zarya is good or bad. Like, her boss deals with Talon. No, like, but does Zarya deal with them? Like, it's one of those, she's a gray area character. And like you said, we just need more lore. We need a movie. We need some sort of, like, I know they had plans a while back for, like, a full-length comic book, like a 100-page comic book.
Yeah,
and that got scrapped. Yeah, that got scrapped because they said they were going to work on something else to reveal all the lore. We haven't heard anything like that. I mean, we're not going to hear anything about lore and all that stuff, like massive lore drops like that, until probably BlizzCon. I'd assume we'd hear something, but we need a book. We need a movie. We need more shorts. Like, we haven't gotten many shorts. We used to get them like every 2-3 months. It doesn't seem like we're getting them all that much. We basically get it when we get a new hero. So, like, yeah, give us more lore. People want this. We don't have a story mode in the game, so give us the lore because people care about that stuff pretty drastically.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Like, obviously, you want to learn more, and yeah, it kind of, like, opens up the fans to kind of, do a lot of speculation, and, we even have, some companies out there that are doing, like, fan films, like we've seen, because there's been, like, Heroes Never Die, which was a Mercy one by Lupin Productions. They also did a Widowmaker one that had Soldier 76 in there as well. And if you haven't seen either of those, we've talked about both of them in the past on Heroes Never Die. Go check them out. Just go onto YouTube, search Lupin Productions, and I'm sure both of their short films will be at the top of that. But, really, like, we've seen some games in the past, like, not really tell you the whole story, and then you have to rely on outside, kind of sources, whether that is by going to a website or reading a book, things like that. But really, like, we just need to see. I know the animation stuff takes a while. I've never been a huge fan of the digital comics, primarily just due to the fact that it's very hard to really elevate the lore, or just learn more in that 8-page span of the comics. So, hopefully, in the near future, we'll maybe get a little bit more rampant on the time in, where it's not every 3 or 4 months. But, a lot of people are wanting lore for quite a few heroes out there. But is there anyone, like, in Overwatch right now that you feel like needs that aspect the most?
I mean, I think everyone wants to know more about the kind of the key characters, as I call them, like, or I think of them as. I'm talking the people want to know what happened with Genji. People want to know more about Reaper, Mercy. I don't think people want to know as much about like Ryan or Torbjorn or Tracer or Winston even that much. But it's like the bad guys. McCree is another one. I think people really want to know, because the only lore we've really gotten on McCree was he was part of Blackwatch. He was on a train.
And he drinks with Sombra.
Like, that's really it. So McCree would be a great one to have. I also kind of want to know how Junkrat... I know we know how Junkrat and Road became friends, but how did they get associated with all of this? Like, how did Junkrat and Road get associated with all of this? That would be a really cool story. Like, one thing that they really could do, and so Star Wars, which is something I'm a giant fan of, Star Wars has done a lot wrong. Jar Jar Binks. They've done a lot wrong. But they've done a lot right. And one of the things that, and not a lot of people have seen it. I mean, a lot of people have seen it, but not a lot of people like realize it. One of the best things they ever done was they released a cartoon series on Netflix called The Clone Wars. And that was like the gap between, the prequels and like the old movies. And it answered so many lore questions. And it was just a cartoon series, a 25-minute cartoon series once a week that eventually got put on Netflix. And it went on for 6 seasons. And that covered more lore than we could ever imagine in the Star Wars universe. Like, more lore was covered in that cartoon series than probably the 6 movies that were out when this cartoon came out, not including the more recent ones. And that's what I think Overwatch needs to do. And I think they would have the people who would watch it, because if you release a cartoon that has a good backstory on something like Netflix, Hulu, something like that, you're going to get more than just Overwatch fans. You're going to get fans of like the adult cartoony, not anime really, but like the adult cartoony type of genre. And I think that's what they need to go at for this to give us our lore.
I like how you preference that as not adult with anime. I know a lot of people, myself included, that would be tweeting you later. Go at him.
No, like, I mean, anime is geared more towards adults, but it's not the same. Anime is not the same as the Clone Wars,
right?
And Clone Wars isn't geared at kids, so just like Family Guy or something like that, that's not geared towards little kids, but it's still cartoon. It's geared more towards adults. Anime is fully geared towards adults. I'm thinking more of the Family Guy, Clone Wars, Simpsons, that kind of genre.
Right.
And I think they could release it on Netflix or some other platform like that, and they could get a lot of viewership, and that's how they could release the lore. And I know a lot of people have said they want something like this, and we all do, but it's something that we know from their shorts that they can produce at a high quality. They just need to come up with storyline for it. And that will probably be the biggest issue is like, how do they come up with a storyline for 24 episodes, 24 30-minute episodes? Something like that. But I mean, I think they could do it because they need to give us more than just every few months they give us a page to read and an 8-page comic book. Like, they need to give us more than that.
Yeah,
and
to kind of add on to that, like, something Mortal Kombat did, they had Mortal Kombat Legacy, which basically each episode kind of focused on a central character. They could even go that route, too, where, it might only be X number, episodes that way, but, they could just build off of that, which was another thing that the fans definitely wanted, for sure. But yeah, definitely, like, lore is one of the things that a lot of people still want more of. So, there's definitely different ways to go about doing that. So, who knows? Like, maybe come BlizzCon, we might hear something. Maybe not. But for now, all we can do is speculate, and hope that we do eventually get a TV series. Or Lego Overwatch movie. I mean,
I would take a Lego Overwatch movie at this point if it meant more lore. Can you imagine Lego Reaper doing Death Blossom? I'm just saying. That'd be kind of funny.
And just, like littering guns everywhere.
Yeah. Like, oh crap, there's guns everywhere.
Wait, okay, hold on, wait. I just had this thought. So, with the recent Reaper changes where it automatically reloads his Hellfire shotguns when he Death Blossoms, does that mean there's less shotguns laying around everywhere?
I don't know. That's a good question.
We need to know these things. Someone tweet at Michael True, please. But moving on.
I mean, okay, well, I'll say one thing.
Okay.
If they do a Lego Overwatch movie and Reaper's running around with guns, he could get into a battle. I guarantee you they will have a scene where he's like fighting and like shooting and dropping the guns, and like all these guns pile up underneath him and becomes like a mountain of empty shotguns.
Right.
And he's just standing on the top, still shooting. Guaranteed that will be a scene.
It's either that or he gets buried.
Yes.
I mean, you could go either way with that. But shifting gears, guy, we do have a little bit of update in regards to merchandise and where you can acquire merchandise. So I'm going to pair these two together because that makes the most sense to me. So Blizzard actually opened up an official European gear store, finally, after all of these years. I know people have been looking at this for quite some time. So EU customers can purchase goods from the new store without having to deal with the higher taxes, the shipping costs, and having to deal with imports from, the United States gear store. So the shipping facility is going to be located in Netherlands, so for anyone in the EU, that means basically, shipping time is going to be a lot quicker than it would be imported from the States. So in regards to the website, so, like, in the past, you've been on the US site, which, you have all your information kind of stored there. All of that stuff is not going to be saved and transferred over to the EU store, so, you still have to put in, like, your new ship-in preferences, your order history isn't going to be there because it's a different store. Same with, like, your saved payment methods, things like that, so just take note of that. But something you can do while you're there is check out some of the new gear. And I know this isn't in the notes, but I know there's new Overwatch League gear in the store. We got, like, new hats and a couple other things. I haven't really had a good chance to really look at that stuff, but that also kind of dropped in the past couple of days. And I didn't know where else to put it. But, like, there is also a new Nendoroid in the gear store right now, and it's Sombra. So Sombra is the latest Overwatch hero to receive the Nendoroid treatment, so pre-orders for her are now open. Sombra will cost you $50, and that includes, like, a selection of accessories. There's faceplates, weapons, display pieces. She has, like, hacking effect parts. There's, like, a skull mark attachment to display when she's hacking someone. She has, like, a mini translocator and a lot more. There's a ton of stuff with this one. You even have, like, an extra hand piece for, the boop pose. I mean, you have basically everything that you would need for Sombra. I mean, obviously, like, the boop one is probably the biggest thing because that's... I mean, you can go to anyone and just go boop, group, and they'll practically know who you're talking about because I mean Sombra's everywhere at this point. So you know, in regards to the figure itself, you know, it's like just under 4 inches tall. It's expected to ship Q1 of 2019. That seems like so far away. But you know, already in the line we have Genji, we have Hanzo, Tracer, Mercy, Mei, and now Sombra. So, you know, I haven't really gone out and purchased any of these, but I feel like with this one, I have been the most tempted, just with everything that comes with this one.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so I have to avoid the Blizzard store. And I don't want to, but for my own safety, I have to avoid the Blizzard store until I get back from Vegas. So I'm going to be going to Vegas in 2 weeks, as you know, surprise, won't be here in 2 weeks because I'll be in Vegas. But I have to wait to order more stuff from the Blizzard store until I get back to make sure I didn't gamble it away. And I mean, it's not going to just be like, so I'm going to order probably a couple shirts and stuff like that, but it's not just going to be clothes. And these figurines are kind of something that I have my eyes on. It's one of those things where, like, what do I buy from the store outside of clothes? Well, I want to buy stuff that I can display. And these are the perfect things. I line them up on my desk, put them next to my, you know, my Soldier 76 statue, my Star Wars Funko Pops, and, you know, I have a good time. And yeah, this is a very tempting thing to get, and it scares me.
So basically what you're saying is, as soon as you go on the gear store, right, you got your wallet, yeah, and then you just go, wah, you throw it.
yeah, be like, everything I can get with this card, just sent to me.
I was really worried I was gonna knock over my webcam when I did that.
But no, like literally, I had to stop myself. I was gonna be like, so I saw like the hoodies, the new Overwatch League hoodies. Be like, no, you're going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Oh, speaking of hoodies, my Ultimate Mercy hoodie from Jinx came in when I was on my staycation as well. I don't have it with me, obviously, because it's like 110 in here, and I'm not wearing that in here.
Right.
When is that?
It probably won't really get weird until like August.
I mean, it's actually been pretty cool right now in Chicago. So like if it's like if I'm going out walking or running in the evening, I'll usually bring it still. But yeah, for the most part, like it's gonna be too hot. But I will definitely have it for BlizzCon, and maybe I'll show it off next time we're on stream. But
BlizzCon.
Yes.
I'll be watching from home. Does that count? No.
I mean, it's like I'll be honest, like, the virtual ticket stuff, you get to see so much content, it's ridiculous. When you're actually there, you're not going to be able to hit as many things as you would with the virtual tickets.
Yeah, you get to see more with the virtual ticket. But you don't get the...
It's hard to replace the experience, though, of the convention itself.
Oh, yeah. No, it'd be almost impossible. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people who just go and, like, don't go to actual BlizzCon, but get the virtual ticket, watch it in their hotel room, and then party with everyone. Like, that to me seems fun as hell. Like that seems super fun, except I chose to go to Vegas again this year instead of BlizzCon.
Yeah, see, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do both. Back to back.
You just took a long trip.
Yeah, I'm just like, I'm going for 2 weeks. It'll be great. but moving on, let's talk about some of the bigger news, right? So, you know, yesterday, our dad and savior, Papa Jeffy Kep, praise him. You know, he came back with a new developer update. And this dev update, oh man, we gotta talk about this. I am excited about this one, just because this could forever change Overwatch as we know it. Well, how can that be, Totem? Like, what's going on? Well, let me tell you. We are getting some new social features in Overwatch. So we have endorsements, and we have looking for group. So for one, endorsements. This is like a behavioral reward system, as we have talked about in the past on this very podcast. Kind of something very similar to this. So, you'll be able to recognize your teammates in 3 different ways. You have sportsmanship, good teammate, and shot caller. So, you can only vote for, I think, one person for each category. But still, what this is doing is, you are endorsing someone, and then if they maintain, a certain level of endorsements, they'll actually be rewarded periodically. Now, what exactly is that going to entail in regards to the actual rewards? We don't know. But it's incentive.
I will say this.
Okay.
I was on the PTR and I got upvoted. And I got plus 25 experience. When because I got upvoted shot caller. Something I didn't actually do, but somebody was just testing it out, and I got 25 experience for it.
So as you just said, you might not even have to do anything, and you can get XP. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's always going to be the case, but whatever. But basically, so obviously we've seen how bad things have gotten in regards to toxicity, and this has kind of been something that they've been trying to combat for really, the majority of the year. I mean, that's kind of been one of their focal points, trying to deal with the bad player, not bad as in wood tier like Draven, bad as in just toxic assheads. People like that, people that are always moaning and complaining in chat, or only want to play Symmetra and don't try to work with the team.
What's wrong with that? wait, no.
So here's the thing, I wish we wouldn't have to resort to this, but let's be real. In online gaming, you are always going to run into people that don't have the same mindset as you, and disagreements are going to happen. You're eventually going to run into someone that just doesn't want to work with you, or just lashes out at people for no apparent reason. And, this is our way of battling that, and, looking at, all the other improvements we've seen with the report feature. If we had to reward people for being decent human beings, I'm okay with that. I just wish we wouldn't have to go to this extent to actually get that to happen. But it is what it is. I'm not surprised that we have to resort to this level, but I feel like this is definitely going to make the game just a more pleasant experience, because, for a while now, it's just you get in games, and there's always that one person, and, it's cross-roll, and it seems to happen in a majority of the games. It happens a lot in competitive as well, so I'm just hoping that this is going to clean up, and just, I'm not going to say it's going to completely negate the issues that we're currently seeing, but I feel like people will be more open to being a little bit more lenient and not so hard-pressed on their ways, to put it blunt.
Yeah, I mean, with this, they're trying to get rid of toxicity by positivity. It's one way to try to combat, the negativity that happens in literally every game that's out there, by giving you the ability to reward people for good behavior and giving you a small advantage. Nothing major. No major advantage is given. Like I said, plus 25 experience is nothing, but it's a small advantage. It may encourage people to be more positive towards people. Anything you do in a game to help decrease toxicity is a plus in my system. And this is something that they've probably been working on for a while, and hope really works out for them. And it's gonna be a good feature. Will people abuse it? Yes, people will try and abuse it, and they'll probably try and good teamwork in a smart ass way to somebody who was a horrible teammate. just to be like oh, haha, you were a great teammate. No, actually, you were a horrible teammate. I'm just giving this to you out of irony. But like, I mean, it's gonna happen one way or another. But I mean, somebody is probably gonna get some sort of upvote on this every match, no matter what. So it's a great way to like try and boost morale in the game and really try and get people to talk more, like with the shot caller, good team. Like it will help encourage people to be more attentive and not ignore voice chat, which is a massive problem.
Absolutely. So the other major feature that we're getting for the social features is looking for group. So this is basically like a way to craft, a certain gameplay experience that you're looking to get, and you can use like certain parameters. So like I was on a PTR, I was checking this stuff out. So for the LFG tool, you can basically like select what game mode you want to play in, whether or not you want the team to have voice chat. You have the ability to enforce like certain role sets. So say like you want to run 2-2-2. You would find 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 damage, which we'll talk about here shortly. So it's just it's a great tool, and they also have like role preferences too. So like if you're like wanting to heal, like you can find a group that way. So it's kind of like the Warcraft LFG essentially. Mm-hmm. It's not actually finding you. It's not like an actual group queue or like a role queue, like some people wanted, but it's a way to find like-minded players, essentially. Now, that being said, I have a few questions with this. So, for one, since this is looking for group, does that mean that these groups are basically going to be placed in the regular group matchmaking? Because if that's the case, if you're going up against a pre-made, going up against something that's more of a pickup group, that can be a pretty distinct disadvantage for you. It's not always going to be the case, but that can happen. And then the other thing is like, okay, well, there's also an option where you can set a minimum endorsement level. So I have a feeling people are going to be like, okay, you need endorsement. I think it goes up to 5. Let's say max, like minimum 4. So you're only looking for people that keep getting the votes. So like that's another thing that I'm a little bit worried about overall. That being said, though, with endorsements, it does open up an easier way to find people that are more like-minded. So chances are you'll have a shot caller on your team. You'll have people that can stick to a certain role or are good at just being a teammate in general, things like that. So, I have a feeling like it'll just be like a normal group. So they'll be in the same pool as literally everyone else, because you don't want to be into a situation where you basically have multiple queues for each like mode, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So when I first heard this feature, I was ecstatic about it. I loved this mode. So like, what it reminded me of is you brought up WoW. It brought me back to the days of WoW. Actually, before cross-realm raiding, and you would look for raiders in trade chat, be like looking for 1 tank, looking for 2 DPS, something like that, and you would bring them in, and you'd have kind of minimum requirements, be like, hey, what's your item level, so on and so forth, and it kind of does that. Now, as someone who doesn't have people who I really play comp with, this is great because I'll probably try and find teams to play comp with in Overwatch based on this, and hopefully I can find a team to stick with. But you mentioned some problems that they need to probably fine-tune, and a couple of things stuck out to me as well. Like, you can force roles. So when you say, I want 2 tanks, 2 healers, 2 supports, or 2 damage dealers. Whole nother issue there. But 2 damage, 2 support, 2 tanks. Well, sometimes you're going up against a comp where you want to run 3 support, 1 tank, 2 damage dealers.
Or 3
But if you
DPS.
Yeah,
I
or
agree.
3 DPS. But if you force this, are they still allowed to switch? Like, I don't know. We didn't go that far into testing. But if you want to switch to 3 support, 1 tank, are you able to do that with forced roles as a part of it? Like, and if you can't, then that's a problem because that's damaging the integrity of like what they kind of want for the game of you need to switch off when it's appropriate. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. There's a lot of fine tuning I think they need to do with it. I think they need to add a lot more options
Yes.
to the looking for group.
Like,
It was very limited in the number of options that you were looking for.
yeah, they need to add skill rated on there.
They
Like,
do.
especially like for competitive, like you want to have someone that's in your same SR group because right now, like the only thing you can really do is like put like your SR like you would like an item level requirement essentially, and just do like parentheses like diamond or whatever, however you want to do it. Because really,
Yeah, and-
like the only way to find that is like if you're specifically searching for either that specific number or that tier, essentially, and just put in like diamond or gold, things like that.
Yeah, and like you can't like, and another feature they added counterproductive to looking for group was the you can hide your profile. So like if you join a group and you're like they're looking for, let's say in the thing they're looking for platinum and higher, and you go in and you're gold, you can just hide your profile and they can't see what you're at because they cannot look at your profile. So like there needs to be fine tuning for this. The like hardcore fine tuning. And I think we're gonna get it. I think this is just the base of what LFG is. So I hope they make some changes to it with some feedback, but SR is something I think they definitely need to add. And I think they need to find a way to allow people, even though if they can force roles, there needs to be a way to change it mid-match where a tank, an off tank can switch to a Moira Brigade, something like that, if need be. So I need to fine tune, but I love this feature. I love this feature. I think this is one of the best things they've added in the game in the past year, because and this is purely selfish of me. I'm gonna use the hell out of it until I find a group of people that I'm not the best player in the world, but I'm high gold, maybe low plat, it's something like that. But I'm a high gold player. But I need to get up to that point because right now I've just been solo queuing, and solo queuing is hell,
Yeah, it's never a fun experience.
especially as a tank.
And
Like
it's
I'm
the
a
same with
main
support,
tank.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm a main tank, like through and through. I'm a Orisa and I'm a Reinhardt through and through. And I can also play off heal support brigade. Like as a solo queue as that, it's horrible because when you solo queue, you're usually doing solo tanking or solo healing, like you went through earlier. If I can find a team, I could easily get up. And I had a team last season, but we're not playing anymore. And through that team, I got to gold, mid gold. So I just need another team where I can get to take that next step. And this LFG is something that I really could use to get there.
Yeah, so something that we already kind of touched on, but just to reiterate, attack and defense heroes have been merged under a new category, damage. So like when I kind of like looked at the like select hero screen, it really threw me off. So it's gonna take a little bit of time to just kind of get used to that. But like we've kind of talked about in the past where we felt like we didn't mind having 4 categories. But we felt like they could have been categorized a little bit differently. So, like, for instance, like, yeah, damage is fine. But there are also some characters that kind of fall into like that specialist type role. So like with damage, like I don't know if you can consider some of them to be just straight out damage because more of them are more utility based than some of the others. But all in all, it's gonna take a little bit of time just to get reacquainted with how the layout is. And you also mentioned player profiles. So right now, you can set them, or in this patch, you can set them as private, friends only, or public. Now, so there's a few things with this. Let's say you have it on private. It's going to put you in a situation now where, let's say you mained a hero in the past, so we'll use Mercy as an example. So if you spend a lot of time on Mercy, if you go into a match and you have your player profile on private, everyone's not going to be like, you play Mercy, like, you've been playing that role, why aren't you playing Mercy, and then they rage quit, or whatever situation. Like, people will always look at what heroes you played and just assume that you're going to play that hero, and, that's just the way it is. So, you can kind of avoid situations like that when you queue into competitive. But, like, for what it's worth, like, the player profiles are going to be set to friends only as default. You'll have options to kind of change it all in all. So, I'm still not sure quite how I feel about this. I feel like by setting it to private, people are just going to question what you're doing anyway, because they can't really see your stats. So, I don't know quite what to make of this one in particular.
Yeah, I mean, like, all right, so if you watch any streams, the second any of these pros get into a comp match, they immediately go to the social net
To see if you're
and
one
check
trick.
out, and see if you're one trick and to see what you mean. Like, that's the first thing they all do. Now, do I think it's going to be a lot of these people higher up are going to go private if they're not a one trick? No. So it's kind of going to be one of those things where, like, all right, are you a one trick? Oh, you're if you're a grandmaster, high up there. Oh, if you're private, you're probably a one trick. Let's just avoid you. We know you're not going to switch type of thing. But in lower levels, I mean, it's going to be an issue, especially in LFG, looking for, like I said, if somebody has their profile set to private, like, how do you tell what they play, how good they've been, like, what's their SR? Like, you just don't know it. So, I mean, overall, I think this is a good idea. I really do. The only downfall I see with this is LFG. It's just they happen to put both these things out in the same, we're releasing this and we're releasing this. So, they don't mesh well together. If one doesn't have a way to counteract the other, as in, like, LFG doesn't have a way to account for SR. And that's the big thing. If LFG had a way to have SR involved in it, then having a private profile is a great feature. So people can't search you and troll you for whatever you're doing. But if you don't, then LFG is kind of like, okay, I'm not going to invite you because I can't see what you've done. I can't see if you're one trick. I can't see what you've been successful at in the past, like stuff like that. So, like, it's got its positives and negatives. And it could all be kiboshed if they put SR in the LFG tool. Yeah, I mean, I like the feature. I don't care. If people look at my profile, I mean, they can't get anything from it. They'll just be like, oh, son of a bitch, this guy's played a lot of Widowmaker and Quick Play. And they're going to be like, just don't let him play Widowmaker. Whatever you do, don't let him play Widowmaker, especially against Spider. I hate you still. Because he tried it against me while we were filming our 4-minute videos. I saw him. I was on Widowmaker, and he was on, like, Doomfist, and he was targeting me. And then he switched to Widowmaker, and I'm like, nope, switch to Diva. I am not letting Spider do this again to me.
I'm not living it all over again.
Like, I've already got PTSD about Spider destroying me in our in our game night, so I'm not letting that happen again. But you can't see stuff like that, which I'm totally okay with, unless you're looking for a comp team. Then they need to see it.
Absolutely. So, we also have more details in regards to the Symmetra rework, which we'll talk about with our patch notes, which we'll get over in just a few minutes. So we got Symmetra 2.0. We did some testing on that. We got an overview video over on our YouTube channel, if you guys want to, form an overview in regards to the new stuff there. Horizon Lunar Colony also saw a ton of significant changes. Don't act surprised, guys, because, they kind of got leaked on PTR prior. So chances are, if you were on the PTR before, you might have already seen these. And we'll talk about... I mean, we're not really going to talk about the changes. I will show you the changes. Ooh, yeah. All right, so...
And I will mute myself while we show you the changes.
So, other than that, yes, we're getting 2 social features very soon. We'll also have some more social features here going to introduce later in the year. We got 2 coming in the summer and 1 later in the year. So, all right, Edinar, is one of these 3 going to be a clan system? Because I hope to God it is.
Yes. I've been asking for a clan system since beta. I think the first time I actually guessed it on the cavalry, I was like, the feature I want the most is a clan system or guilds. As if you're unfamiliar with the clan system, it's essentially a guild. That is what I've wanted the most in this game. Like, straight up, it's what I've wanted the most. And all these social features are pointing more and more towards, we're so close to getting a clan system. And I mean, if they didn't announce something along the lines of a clan system come BlizzCon, I'd be shocked.
Absolutely. Yeah, I really hope. I don't know if that one would be a summer one. I have a feeling that would be the one that would be later in the year. As regards to the summer ones, I don't know yet. There's more that they can definitely do, though. But, you can test all of these stuff out. All these new features, Symmetra 2.0, over on the PTR right now. The PTR patch dropped yesterday. That is Tuesday, June 5th. So, what is on the PTR right now? Well, we got the new social features. So, you got the endorsements, you got the LFG tool, you got the new hero layout, basically, where you have all defense and offense heroes merge into the damage category, so you can get confused as to where they are on the screen like we are. You can now hear combat 25% further away. I'll be honest, I haven't really played enough on the PTR to see, how drastic of a change that is. But
No.
there's quite a bit of stuff in this patch. They added a new stat for Widowmaker, where it shows your scoped critical hit accuracy, which is huge. So, that will let us know how many times you're getting a headshot, essentially, with Widow. For top 500, this was an interesting one.
It was.
Players must have Blizzard SMS Protect enabled on their account to be eligible for top 500. So I have 3 words for people, right? Suck it, Smurfs. I mean, what other reason would they do this? I mean, you have people that are in the top 500. Some of them being very notable streamers that have 5, 6, 7 accounts in the top 500. They're only gonna get the rewards for one of them, or depending on how many phones they have. But let's be real, no one is going around carrying 5 phones on them.
I don't know. T-Mobile might have some burner phones, so they could use Blizzard against them. Be like, we're supporting Blizzard through T-Mobile, but we're also getting extra rewards because we have a T-Mobile burner phone.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, it just seemed like, they're going to try to discourage Smurfing a little bit more. We already talked about the career profiles, so, they are no longer public by default. It's defaulted to friends only. So you can change that by going to the options, social, and profile visibility option there. They added Symmetra to the 1v1 duel game mode, so, that's 1v1 limited duel, 1v1 mystery duel, so, you could go explode people with your alternate fire, or if you're facing a Reinhardt, you can absolutely blow them up, which we'll talk about.
I actually didn't know she wasn't a part of that. Was she not available in it before?
No. For the most part, the healers weren't added to the
the supports were.
Yes.
Okay.
Although now she's damaged, so now she is. That's why she's in. We do have some hero balance changes that we need to talk about, so let's look at Doomfist first. So his Meteor Strike bonus movement speed was increased from 150% to 200%, and then the shield gain was increased from 30 to 35, so only 5 differential there, for his normal abilities. So, Doomfist is one of those heroes that, if he goes in, if he doesn't land, you're toast. That's still going to be the case, but at least now when you go in, you'll have a little bit more shield to you. I don't think this is going to improve my Doomfist play, but, with that speed increase with the Meteor Strike, the Space Jams are going to be coming out a little bit more ferociously in that regard.
Oh yeah, no, the Doomfist changes. I mean, all right, so I don't play Doomfist, but he does need some minor buffs. So this bonus movement speed is nicer. Really, it is. I mean, any buffs that Doomfist gets right now is a bonus to actual Doomfist. He needs it. He's just on the verge of becoming meta, and any changes they make will make him meta.
I don't know if we're quite there yet, but I do like the changes that they did make. And another change that I do like is for Orisa. Now, I'll be honest, I am not a fan of this ability. I have made that pretty publicly clear. I still don't like it. I feel like it's lazy and it's too similar to another ability in the game. And that is Supercharger, her ultimate. So, Orisa Supercharger ultimate cost was reduced by 15%. Yes, absolutely, her ultimate cost was way too freaking high. You didn't really get it up that often. So, this will definitely help in that regard. I still don't like Supercharger. I don't like the damage battery pack, essentially, that just tethers to people, because it's too similar to, Mercy's damage boost overall. But, this is still a good step for Orisa, so she'll get it up a little bit more often now, and, it's definitely an ability that can definitely turn the fight around, especially getting that extra damage out.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what is her, is something that you can stop a first push rather quickly with this ultimate, as long as the other team doesn't come in using 3 ults. But I mean, as a main tank player, so Reinhardt, Orisa, her ultimate took forever to get charged up. So a reduction in the ults, the ultimate cost is a much needed change. Much needed. And I don't even know if 15% is enough. Because, I mean, you could go a whole fight on point, not die, lead your team in kills and damage, and still not have the ultimate up. So, 15%, it's a good starting point. They might need to tweak it more. But we'll see. We'll see what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. So other than that, we also got the new Symmetra. Symmetra 2.0 is on the PTR right now. And I'll be honest, I don't know if I should just talk about all this stuff or show you a YouTube video that Spider did. Because there's quite a bit.
There is
It'll probably be about the same length, to be honest.
They literally changed every single thing about Symmetra. Everything you know about Symmetra is gone. So, throw it all out the window.
All right, I'll go over this and we'll show the video for the map changes. So, okay, Symmetra 2.0 in a nutshell. Let's talk about her primary fire, that is her photon projector. It no longer automatically locks on a target, so it's more like a Zarya beam. The range was increased to 10 meters, which, you and I both felt like it didn't feel like as impactful as we thought it would, like, in terms of, like, the range. Like, we thought it would be a lot bigger of a deal, but it doesn't have that long of a range, so for those that were worried about Symmetra in that retrospect, it's not that bad, to be honest. The damage ramp now takes 2 seconds per damage level. That was up from 1 second before. And then with that, they also increase the damage ramp, increasing that from 30 to 60 to 120 to now being 60 to 120 to 180. And then if you were going up against a barrier, you now generate ammo instead of spending it when you hit a barrier. So, like, if you're Symmetra going up against a Reinhardt, you can keep getting that ramp-up charge very quickly by just hitting the barrier, which is pretty cool. Her ultimate fire also saw a ton of changes. It doesn't pierce through targets now. It also explodes on contact. So they basically like increase the speed both for the projectile in itself, as well as how quickly it charges up. So like it fires off, like I can't remember the exact timing, but it's very quick and it packs a punch. And it basically has its damage changed to having 60 impact damage as well as 60 explosive damage. And, we were on the PTR, and we were on Blizzard World, and I was just kind of seeing, like, okay, well, what's the splash damage like? So we took note of that. Like, it's not even, like, if you have targets right beside each other. So the primary target will take more damage than the person next to them. But, like, the splash damage range was actually pretty damn far, because, like, we were on point A, you were on Roadhog at the time, and, I had you sit, like, underneath the boat, like, right above point A. And, like, I was, like, firing, like, right at the boat, and it was still, like, splashing you, not, like, a ton of damage, but it was still noticeable. So it has a pretty wide explosion radius from what we saw.
Yeah, I think it was, like, 47, 53, somewhere around there, the splash damage that I took as a Roadhog. So it's decent splash damage, unless you have a shield. Like...
Right.
If you have a shield, then there's no splash damage at all. So, I mean, it's a give and take, really.
But
that ability,
she definitely packs a punch, though, with that right click. You can definitely catch some people off guard with how quick it is, because it'll definitely like surprise you when you guys see it for the first time.
Yeah.
In regards to her sentry turrets, which is kind of been like her main ability, like these saw a lot of changes too. So for one, the turrets are placed kind of like a projectile, so when you place them, they just kind of like fly off, and they have unlimited range in regards to how far they can travel before they like stick to something. We did some testing, like, okay, well, what happens if there's like, let's say you have your new ultimate out, the giant shield wall. Well, would it stick to that? No, it just goes right through it. So keep that in mind. So it actually has to be like a surface, not like just a barrier or shield, things like that. You can now hold a max of 3, which is down from 6. Same with being able to deploy a max of 3, also down from 6. The turret damage was increased because you have less, so they really pack a punch. They also increase the amount of slowing that they do, and they also increased the hit points to 30. So, you can't... Like, before, like, you could just pick Winston and not even aim and just be like, zap, dead. Now it takes, like, a little bit longer. It's still not, like... It's not, like, so drastic that the Winston is going to die or anything like that, but it takes more time to actually kill them. So the turrets all across the board pack more of a punch. They slow you down more. So they are more effective. So, we'll have to see, like, just how good, like, a nest of 3 is compared to what, like, a kill room would have been prior. So that's definitely something that we need to check out. But the other fun one is the changes to the teleporter. So, we did a lot of testing with this. So, for one...
Yeah, we did.
Teleporter is no longer her ultimate. They kind of went the Resurrect path with this. So, Teleporter is now an ability. You can place the exit up to 25 meters away from Symmetra. So when you build the exit, it basically builds the entrance automatically in front of where Symmetra is. So the teleporter, it lasts 10 seconds. the health was lowered to 300, and basically, with this, like, there's a lot of fun interactions. You can basically move a ton of shit through teleporters now.
Yes, you can.
Like, for instance, Junkrat's Riptire. You can play Portal with Riptire. You can just keep zapping around. Surprise Blinks. You can launch your self-destruct, like your mech with Diva, into it. It's worth noting, though, that when you shoot it through, it keeps the same trajectory. So it keeps the same angle when you reach the exit. So keep that in mind when you're trying to line shots up. We also tested, like, Torbjorn turrets. So we had you build, like, a level 2 turret, and I would build the teleporter underneath you, and then it would teleport you and the turret. So you can kind of do the same thing with, like, a Bastion, like, if you want to get high ground, so that there's definitely going to be some sneaky stuff going on with the teleporters, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, the one thing that was crazy to me about the Torbjorn turrets is, so, like, when we did it, and I don't know if people caught it if they watched the video or not, but, like, I teleported as Torbjorn with my turret while ulting to the future location, and then I teleported back, but the turret didn't come with me. So, like, me and the turret went to the new point. I teleported back. The turret stayed. So it's like a way to throw an ulting Torbjorn turret into the middle of a group without the worry of losing an actual player. Like, if they kill the turret, they kill the turret. I can build a new one. But this allows you to throw a turret into the middle of a group without the worry of losing a character and being down someone. So that actually was super strong in my book. Like, super strong.
Yeah, so really, like, the big thing with this is if either side is destroyed, whether it's the entrance or the exit, the other side is going to be destroyed. So, 10 seconds isn't, like, a huge duration. The range, honestly, isn't, like, super far either. So, you're gonna have to be careful with your placement still, just like you would in the past, so keep that in mind. And then replacing Teleporter as her ultimate, we have Photon Barrier, which basically is like an endless barrier, in regards to, like, range. So it basically, like, spans and cuts through, like, an entire map. And you can change the orientation of it by pressing the ultimate button again, so it's kind of like a Maywall in that sense, so you can have it, go one of two ways. And then it has 5,000 hit points. So, we also did some testing with this. We tried Whole Hog with Roadhog. That was not enough to break it. We tried Farah Barrage, also not enough. I had to make sure that I didn't pull a Melarina and kill myself accidentally. Sorry, Mel. And
awkward.
The only thing we didn't really try is, like, trying to damage boost the Whole Hog, because the Whole Hog actually came the closest in regards to the abilities that we tested to actually breaking the barrier. But that being said, like, you can still, like, pass through it, like, just by moving. So it's an interesting ultimate. I'll have to see it more in play, so it's kind of hard to really give, like, early impressions on it. But what I will say is, like, there are some things with Symmetra that absolutely, I say this about every time when there's major changes, have got to be fixed. And a lot of it has to deal with, like, the ramp-up damage. So there's times where, I think it was Jane did a video, and he posted it on his Twitter, and it showed him in the training ground, where he was going up against the robots, and, he charged and killed one of the robots normally, and then he turned to the next one, and he, like, sporadically, like, moved his hand, and then that second one basically died, like, within half of a second. It was quick. Like, it was there, and then poof, gone. And it's kind of like the same case with, like, 200 HP heroes as well in the game, so something's definitely got to be done with that. But all in all, like, based off of what I have seen, like, this new Symmetra, I'm not going to say it's going to be meta, but I feel like it definitely makes her more of an option, and I had a lot of fun playing her. I really like the new style, so I'm looking forward to seeing the cheeky aspects of the teleporter abuse, and seeing what sort of shenanigans goes on with that. But it's looking pretty darn good in my opinion.
Yeah, like all right. So a couple of things that are gonna get fixed that I also noticed from
Should
watching some videos
should be fixed.
should be fixed.
This is the
All right,
PTR.
PTR should be fixed. All right, you can charge Symmetra's main fire on the railings.
Hmm.
That needs to be fixed. You can charge Symmetra's main fire on the motorcycle at the beginning of Junker Town. That needs to be fixed. Now, with that said, like, I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, all right, she's not going to be meta. I don't think she will, because the amount of coordination to use her her teleport properly is going to be insane.
Right.
Like, be like, okay, drop it now. I have 5 seconds to get all this done. We're going to do this. All right, then as soon as I do this, everyone and do that. Like, it's fun in practice, but in the middle of a match, it's not feasible. I think a lot of people are going to be frustrated by the not. I mean, Symmetra was known as a no aim hero, like a Winston. Like, you go in, you hit your primary fire, it auto locks onto someone, and you just melt them. When you don't have that, that's a problem. When you jump in and you have to be essentially in tank range to do damage, but you don't have tank health. So she's jumping in and has to be in tank range of everyone to do damage, and she doesn't have tank health. She's going to get melted having to be within 10 meters of people to do damage, because her alt fire does not go through barriers anymore. So it's basically you have to try and melt down shields and do your damage that way. And it's just not something I see a lot of people playing her, and I may be completely wrong, but I don't see her being as effective as a lot of damage dealers. But she's definitely above what she used to be. Like, she used to be like, oh god, I can't believe we have a Symmetra. If the death room that she sets up doesn't work, she's useless. And now it's come to the fact, like, now she's like, okay, they can be decent if they're played correctly, but a lot of people are not going to be playing her correctly. Like, a lot of people are just going to be setting up teleporters random and throwing turrets left and right. And that's not how she's meant to be played. Like, I like her new kit, and I think it makes her infinitely better. I will say that. But I'm still scared of anyone who plays Symmetra. Like, I just am. Like, because you have that notion when you play a game now in comp or whatever, and they choose Symmetra, you're like, oh god. Are you just choosing them because you don't know really how to aim? Or you try and set up, like, the kill room to try and get a lot of kills? Like, is that what you're trying to do now? Type of thing. So it will be interesting to see how she actually pans out. And I think it all boils down to her teleporter. Like, if her teleporter becomes a lot easier to use than I think, she's gonna be really, really powerful. Especially to get past like it brings in a new wave of dive comps. Like, you use it to get past choke points, essentially, with non-dive characters. Like, an Orisa could be in a dive comp with a Symmetra. Like that kind of thing. Like, anyone could be in a dive comp with a Symmetra now. But it'll be interesting to see if that actually pans out.
Yeah, and one other note about Symmetra, before we move on to Horizon Lunar Colony, is that with her teleporter, some of the other interactions that we saw was that you can actually use teleporter when you were stunned or slept. which is weird to me. Like, I don't know if
That's gotta
that's
be
intended,
changed.
but it feels awkward. So, we tried it with, the Anna Sleep Dart. You were able to teleport. Same with the Brigitte Shield Bash. And it also works with the McCree Flashbane, so yeah, that's probably going to change. Really, like, my only other concern, and this is gonna go to the people that are playing on PS4 and Xbox One, is with the mapping of this. So, on PC, it is keybound to F. When you're playing on PS4 and Xbox One, you really don't have that many options to have certain, like, button setups, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know how exactly this is going to work on a console. So that's my major concern, at least on that platform. I don't know exactly where that's going to map it towards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't play enough console games to know all the all the button combinations that kind of crazy. But yeah, if you have more abilities than normal buttons on PS4 and Xbox, that's gonna draw an issue. But I feel we're gonna figure out this weekend, both you and I,
Yeah.
when we take advantage of a certain situation that's happening this weekend.
Yes, but before we can talk about this weekend, we have to talk about the Horizon Lunar Colony changes. And I say talk, I really don't mean talk. So for one, they had a huge list of, like, all of the changes to the map. And yes, that would be great. I could talk for literally, like, 25 more minutes about Horizon Lunar Colony, everyone's favorite map, also everyone's favorite map type, because it's Assault, 2CP low. So rather than listing all of the changes, I had a better day. I'm like, okay, let's show you our new YouTube video that we posted earlier today, which is like a 4-minute overview of everything that is going on. So, hopefully I didn't move my browser. Hopefully, like, this will work perfectly fine the first time I do it. Otherwise, I'll work around that. But I'm gonna switch it over to our YouTube, and we'll check this out. Hopefully, I got this. Nope. Okay, I gotta move this, and we gotta move this. Doop. Good enough. All right, let's play this. So this is like 4 minutes. So bear with us, guys. And let me unmute.
And I'll be walking you through the Horizon Lunar Colony changes. So starting off, the beginning of the map from the attacker's spawn is pretty much the same as it was in live. You can notice that there are some subtle texture differences, but overall nothing major. Coming up, we're going to see our first major change. The doorway that once led underneath the top is now gone. Heading up the stairs, we'll see that the layout for the top has changed a little bit, whereas the console is in place of the railing, but the big change comes on the catwalk. On the catwalk, we see there are now barriers where they didn't used to be. This provides cover for the defending team. Moving on, we head down the stairs. Now, while this side room is pretty much the same, the bottom room is very different. You can see there is a mini and a wall on the back where there used to be a door. Heading into the courtyard again, we see that the door is now on the side where it used to be just a wall. This leads into the underpass building where the Mega Health Pack has moved. Heading to the point, pretty much laid out the same as it used to be. But coming up is the next big change. There's a stairway leading to the top catwalk that didn't used to be there, providing easy access for the defenders to get to the high ground. Heading into the next hydroponics area, we see that the Mega Health Pack and the Mini Health Pack have actually switched places, along with some more foliage has been added. We see that the entrances to Point B are pretty much the same, with the exception of that added foliage. Heading back up to the right, we're going to look up top because we're going to see a major point in the catwalk overlooking Point B on the right side for the attackers. We can see the railings gone and the space has been opened up, but also included in that is the defenders now have a barrier that they can hide behind for cover. Heading down the stairs, we see that the mini health pack is still next to the rover. Nothing changed there. We do see that the ground texture has changed a little bit. There we get a pretty good look at the point. Heading up to the left side room, we see that the mega health pack is still where it used to be, so nothing changed there. But now the left catwalk has an easy access for the defenders and has also been extended around the corner. We also see that a pallet's been added in the back corner on the lower level to provide some more cover. Taking a look at the catwalk, you can see that the defenders now have a pretty good view of point B. Checking out where the defenders used to come out of spawn, we see that there is now a door blocking the access. But we also see that there is a straight path, so there is a lot of cover provided. There's also been a cover put on the awning to protect people coming out of that middle path. This access room has remained the same, but another path has been added to the left side. You can see that where it used to be a wall. All in all, that pretty much sums up the Horizon Lunar Colony changes in about 4 minutes. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button below, and definitely hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you get notified of all the Overwatch League Network videos.
Alright, so that is pretty much it, guys. Let me flip back over. It's gonna mess up the overlay real quick. And we're back! Woohoo! We did it. Alright.
Yay!
So that is the newer iteration of Horizon Lunar Colony. Yeah, as you can tell, like, there's quite a bit of changes. Attacking Point A is absolutely going to suck. Like,
Yup.
it's gonna be hard, and there's a lot of, like, high ground differentials towards the end of the map as well. So definitely hop onto PTR, guys. Let Blizzard know what you like, what you don't like. Does it change your opinion on Assault? Probably not. But,
Ew.
you know, Horizon is definitely a map that not a lot of people are liking. So we'll see whether or not that changes their opinions on it. But moving on, let's talk about something that's going on this weekend before we finally move on to some of the hotly discussed topics, that being a double XP weekend. So to cap off the Overwatch anniversary event, we got double XP from June 8th through June 11th. So, well, what does that necessarily mean in regards to double? Well, obviously it means two. But in regards to the XP, what's going towards that? So this includes XP from time spent in a match, completing a match, playing consecutive matches, winning a match, backfilling in a match, acquiring medals, etc., etc. It will also stack with existing XP bonuses, aka playing in a group. So this is some incentive for me to finally, potentially, maybe, just maybe, level my PS4 account to 25, so I can see just how terrible I am in competitive on PS4, which would probably be terrible, but I will laugh if I play Splat. But all in all, like, really the only thing not impacted by the XP boost here is that first win bonus of the day, which still remains at 1500 XP. So when does this start? So this is going to be enabled on June 8th at 1 p.m. Central Time, and it will end June 12th at 2 a.m. Central Time. So yeah, my goal is basically, okay, I'm going to go in, I'm going to try to get level 25 on PS4, which is something I've been wanting to do for quite some time, just so I can kind of compare, well, where do I place on console, which I'm horrible at, compared to where I place on PC, which I mean, if I go by the average, I'm above average, because I'm in the Plat Promised Lands more times than not. And I'm stuck there, because I don't group queue with people, and I deal with a lot of solo queue as a support, which it doesn't work.
Not the best way to go.
So, if you're a listener and you happen to play on PS4, please let me know. Maybe we can group up over the weekend. Just note, I'm not that great on console. I've never really been a console player. So, I can't promise you I'll be spectacular, but what I will say is I will communicate, which is far more than most people can say when they're playing on PS4, based on my experience at such a low level.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like, I'll join you with that, Totem. I have my PS4 account and I don't play it at all, but I might play it this weekend to get to 25 because I want to see how bad I am on console compared to PC. Like the aiming of it gets me. It really does. But if I'm on Reinhardt and Arista, it shouldn't really matter.
It won't be
really.
as impactful. And you know, a lot of time when I'm on console, I still play Mercy or Zenyatta. So it's really not that drastic of a change for me either. But like if we're going to do this, I want to have like an over-under for both of us in regards to where like the difference that we think will be in regards to our PCSR.
Oh my God. It would be so bad.
Like I have a feeling like if I was to be modest, I think it's gonna be somewhere between like 600 to 800. Like I feel like it's gonna be drastic just because like when it comes to playing on PS4, like that console I maybe touch like once a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very often, and it's usually not for that long either. So, you know, I could see me getting as low as silver, but
Dude,
no
if I get
higher than
silver,
gold.
if I get silver, I'll be like, F yeah. Like, I'll be stoked. Like, I suck at aiming. Anyone on console who is like diamond as a Widowmaker, God bless you. You have some sort of super freak natural skills that I just can't understand. But yeah, no, like it's one of those things I'm very interested. But if I play silver, I'll be ecstatic.
We set the bar so low, so we'll see.
Yes.
We'll see where we get from that. All right, well let's shift gears. Let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the community that a lot of people are talking about. Let's start out with one of the bigger ones. So, lately, the past few weeks, we have seen an Open Division team basically come in, clear out Open Division. They went into a tier 2 tournament and shocked the hell out of a lot of people. There were a lot of upsets in the Beat Invitational. So the team in question is Goats. Goats. I can't talk. Goats. So I'm not sure exactly what the acronym stands for. They do have a picture of a goat.
Greatest of all time.
That was made. I mean, yeah, but like, is that the greatest goat? What I will say is like their logo, like if you go on over.gg, it's like made in MS Paint, which is hilarious. So here's the thing with the team. For one, this is a team that was known as Fractal Esports in the past, who were a console team that eventually moved to PC that were known for being extremely toxic. You know, they were asshats, you know, to put it blunt. And in the past, they got in trouble for win trading, account boosting, and some of their players, Gator, Kaluge, and Scott, were banned for 1 year from contenders. You know, this is a team that won Open Division. They had won the Beat Invitational. And they're looking pretty damn good in the Overwatch Pit Championship in North America, which is another major tournament going on right now. They even beat, like, Fusion University, which is a team that won Pit Championship last year, as well as contenders this past season. And, you know, that's being played on live servers, too, which is worth noting. But it's worth noting, like, the ban in itself is only from contenders and doesn't affect, you know, rank play and third-party tournaments. So, the discussion being had right now by the community is the ban in itself, primarily the length of the ban. So, basically, like, the discussion being right now is that we are seeing, like, a ton of lack of consistency in regards to player punishments for account boosting. So if we look at the Overwatch League, you know, we've seen account boosting being an issue. So take like OGE, for example, main tank for the Dallas Fuel. He was suspended for 4 games for account boosting. And, he was really only with the team for 2 of those games when he was under suspension. So it really wasn't to the fullest extent. It was basically like 1 week. Okay, you're sitting out 1 week. That's really not that big. And then we have on kind of like the other end of the Overwatch League punishment spectrum, we have Sado, main tank, outside of Fraggy, for the Philadelphia Fusion, who was suspended for 30 games for account boosting as well, and he had missed the first 3 stages of the Overwatch League. So to kind of put this in perspective, when we look at contenders, 1 year of contenders is essentially 2 seasons, and if you follow the Path to Pro scene, or the Tier 2 scene, however you want to describe it or label it, there really aren't a lot of major third-party tournaments going on. There's not a lot of money at stake in these tournaments, so being out for 2 seasons in the biggest of the tournaments in that, tier of the scene is absolutely massive. So, I mentioned how they're known to be extremely toxic, but I want to get your opinion on this. Do you feel like the ban in itself, in regards to the length of it, do you feel like that was too harsh? Knowing that, we've seen, in Overwatch League, which is the highest pinnacle of competitive Overwatch, really only saying, okay, well, three months is the longest we've seen for suspension, but a year? That's a long time.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so yes, it is. Now, the guys in question are notoriously horribly toxic. So, I mean, they've probably been suspended before. Their accounts have probably been suspended for toxic behavior previously on the Blizzard site, not like from tournaments and stuff like that. But they've been toxic before. Blizzard probably took all of that into account. Like, they probably did. Now, should they have? Probably not. But they probably did take it all into account and suspended them accordingly regarding that. Like, you see it all the time in professional sports. Like, in the NFL, if you get all right, perfect example, Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh can perform a normal, like, I don't want to say normal, but like a run of the mill, like flagrant penalty in the NFL. But he's gonna get fined triple the other person who did it for the first time because of his previous history. Look at the Patriots. The Patriots, Deflategate. Deflategate, honestly, by the NFL rules, was like a $250,000 fine for the team, and that's it. And they lost a first-round pick and got $1 million fine. Like, that's based on their history. So the Overwatch League is taking their history into account when throwing out these penalties. Like, if these guys were asshats previously and have been suspended for being said asshats, like, their penalty is going to be bigger than somebody else, like an OGE or a Sado or someone like that who has been busted for account boosting previously. Like, OGE and Sado have not been suspended or whatever for toxic behavior prior, at least that we're aware of. Like, they could have, and we may not know it. But these guys have. So, taking all their old shenanigans into account, this might be justified. It might be the next tier or 2 tiers of punishment. Like, if XQC would have somehow stayed in Watch League, he would have hit this level at some point. Like, XQC would have been banned for a full year from the Overwatch League if he would have stayed in it. Or, I mean, if Dallas Fuel hadn't cut him and he would have stayed with the team. So I don't want to say this is overly like eccentric on like the amount of games that they're being banned for, but it kind of shows that they're serious about, if you do this, if you keep getting suspended and keep getting in trouble and you continue it, we're just going to keep punishing you more and more. Like if OGE, for instance, in the off season gets caught account boosting again, he's probably done for all of season 2. Like, regardless of what happens, it's like, you got this, you got a season, a stage 3 fine, suspension. You're going to be gone all of season 2 if you do this again, type of thing. And I think this is what happened to them, and people are kind of taking it as, well, they're not as popular as the Overwatch League, or they weren't as famous, and people didn't know about all these suspensions or these bans that these guys got. Well, they still got the bans, and people aren't taking that into account. So I want to give Blizzard benefit of this, because everything I've read about Gator, Scott, and all them, they're horrible people to play games with. Like, as fun as they are to watch in their quad tank or whatever
Triple tank.
Triple tank strategy they run.
That's if you want to count Brigitte as the tank, because technically she's in that comp.
But like they've changed a lot of things, but they're asshats. Like, they're the people in comp that you ban. And those kind of people are, as good as they may be, you don't truly want in the game. And I mean, I hate to say it, and we'll talk about this particular person in a little bit. Overwatch has a way of keeping asshats and people they don't want in the game out of the game. They really do. And I think they're doing it for the better of the game. So, although I do like that the Overwatch subreddit for this was Watch TMZ. I was being like, oh, okay, that is truly fitting.
Absolutely. So really, like, my major takeaway from this, right, is, okay, goats, like, this is your opportunity to rename to Scapegoats. And we'll just leave it at that. But, you know, Spider in chat said that, you know, let's suspend semi-pro players more than pro players seems like bad logic.
Okay, so I just clicked on, I mean, this is not breaking maybe, but Goats just announced their rosters for the NA Contenders Trials.
Right.
Do you know who their new main tank is?
Yeah, I've looked at the roster. We'll be talking about that on the back cap. They have a lot. They have a lot.
I was gonna be like, I'm like, oh my god, they got even more toxic person on their team.
But yeah, we'll be talking about the new roster on the back cap this week. So all in all, like, this team is still able to play in these tournaments. It's just not those players. So I know Kaluj did say that he will be coaching the team as they compete here in the future tournaments. But right now he's still playing in the Pit Championship NA. So, you know, like, if they're able to just kind of, like, breeze through Pit Championship and, you know, upset even more Tier 2 teams, you know, it could make for some interesting times ahead in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
So moving on, you know, let's talk about the World Cup. You know, the World Cup is, you know, we wrapped up Phase 2. So we now know who all of the competition committees are going to be for these World Cup teams. So again, just to reiterate, the committees basically include a general manager, you'll have a coach, and a community lead. So let's start with, you know, the United States. I mean, that is our team after all.
Right.
So USA's committee consists of general manager Bare Hands. He was a part of the New York Excelsior, formerly. For coach, we have Arrow, head coach for the Dallas Fuel. Prior, he had coached Fusion University. When he was a head coach, they went like 15-1. They won contenders. They most recently, well, I'm trying to think what else they won. I think it was the past Pit Championship NA last season that they won too. So that's a team that's been winning basically everything that they enter. But they're actually in the loser bracket right now for the current season of Pit Championship, if you've not been keeping up with that. And then for the community lead, we have Annalyn, who is the LA Gladiators Director of Social Media. So all in all, like, we don't have Kai Kai. We've seen a little bit of backseat coaching from Kai Kai in regards to some tweets being sent out, in regards to how they're actually going about selecting the rosters, which I'm not going to go into, like, the grave details, but basically, like, they're bringing in people to span, like, a field, like, 4 different teams. They all named it after the Mount Rushmore presidents, and there's a good mixture of Tier 2 talent and Overwatch League talent, and you can find all that stuff. I know High Noon Podcast in their Discord, they had a ton of, they had, like, a spreadsheet of, like, who's on what team for the tryout, so you can look at that. But all in all, like, I'm very happy with the committee that we have. I think Arrow was definitely the right choice. We have seen the impact he's already had on the Dallas Fuel. As, you know, they have basically, you know, I'm not going to say they've turned their season around because this is far too late into the season, but they do look like a completely different team right now.
Oh, yeah. No, Arrow was 100% the right person to be the, you know, the coach. The Bare Hands is GM. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Every time I hear Scott Bare Hands Tester, I think of Man Bear Pig from South Park. But, like, every time I hear it, I'm going to be like, Scott, Man Bear Pig. All right. Way to go, Man Bear Pig. Way to go. But, I mean, Arrow is the new hot name. I mean, if Arrow would have stayed probably with the Fusion, he probably wouldn't be coached. But he went to, like, the most popular, you know, streamer team, if you want to call it now. Like, I mean, you don't want to call it, they're still technically the streamer team. Although Shock is kind of creeping up on being the streamer team. But, you know, he took over the most popular team in North America. So he's obviously going to be, but he's actually qualified. Kai Kai, if Kai Kai was still the coach of the Dallas Fuel, and he got made the coach of Team USA, when as bad as the Dallas Fuel was while he was the coach, then questions would have been raised. But, you know, Kai Kai is going to be a part of this team regardless. He's going to be an assistant coach because he brings basically all Team USA with him in the Houston Outlaws. Like, half the Houston Outlaw team is going to basically be on Team USA. So Arrow and Kai Kai are great hands. Man Bear Pig will take care of the team. You know, I don't know much about Annalyn, but, you know, as a community lead, as, you know, working with a Valiant, I'm okay with it. So, yay on them.
Well, it was the Gladiators. Other LA
Gladiators.
Team.
Sorry.
Everyone in LA right now is so mad at you.
I'm thinking of the better LA team.
Oh, that's what it is.
Ooh, that hurts.
So, in regards to, like, other notable positions, we've seen a lot of coaches that are in the Overwatch League getting picked up for coach positions. So, I'm just going to go over them quickly, and then we'll move on to another thing out of the World Cup. So, for Australia, we have Gunba, who is an assistant coach for the LA Valiant. He will be the coach for them. He had previously played for Blink Esports, which is one of the more prolific Pacific teams out there. And we've actually seen Blink Esports represent Australia in prior World Cups. For China, we have RUI. He was a former head coach for Shanghai Dragons. You know, he was a head coach for Miraculous Youngster back when they were still a team. So he'll be the coach there. For France, we have Damon, who is an assistant coach for the LA Valiant. He'll also be the head coach for France. For South Korea, we have Pavane, who is the coach for NYXL. He'll be the coach for that country. Sweden, we have Mineral, the coach from your prior team, the Florida Mayhem. He'll be their coach. And then for the United Kingdom, we have Hayes, who is an assistant coach for the Philadelphia Fusion. He will be the UK coach. So a lot of coaches from the Overwatch League. Not really surprised there. So a lot of success in that retrospect. And You know, I'm going to say it every time we talk about the World Cup. I am petrified of South Korea, knowing that there are like 5 to 8 fantastic choices at literally every single position. So good luck, rest of the world.
Everyone, yeah.
Now, I will preface this by saying that last year, South Korea dropped the map in every single series, which is more than what we have seen in the past. That being said, it's an uphill battle one way or another, but, you know, with the Overwatch League, we've seen kind of that skill gap narrow, so who knows, like, we might see some upsets this year in the World Cup, and I can't wait to watch it. The World Cup is always super exciting, from, you know, the start to finish, so, you know, it's great having, you know, a lot of the podcast crew, last year, like, we all hung out, for the World Cup, you know, we had, the Cavalry there, you know, Blazing Bob was there, Melarina was there, Squid was there, and Moss was there, Spider was there. You weren't there. Slambo was there, shaking in anticipation. I know we got that GIF somewhere. I'm sure he has it on his Twitter if you haven't seen it. But speaking of the World Cup, something that's been kind of brought up, and speaking of toxicity, as you had alluded to earlier, you know, there's a little bit of talk going around right now in regards to Denmark and their World Cup committee, as you know, a pretty popular streamer slash former pro player seems to be missing from the community lead position, despite having a pretty distinct advantage compared to whoever else was in the field of 9.
Yeah.
That being Defran. So Defran is a very popular streamer. He formerly played for Selfless Gaming, who were basically known for being in-your-face aggression all the time, spawn capping you. And, you know, Brad, who was a coach, is with NRG. Or San Francisco Shock. Technically, it's still the same damn company. But he's with the Shock right now. And so, like, the community league position went to Experiana, who is a streamer who has basically like 500 Twitch followers, 200 Twitter followers, and if you compare that to Defran, you know, he has like 226,000, 20,000 respectively, and, you know, there's a big question going around, well, was Defran disqualified? If so, why was he even on the ballot in the first place? So, keep in mind that there was a stipulation that was stated for candidates that says that Blizzard accounts must be in good standing. And recently, going as shortly back as possible, just a few days before voting had ended, Defran got his account banned after using an in-game exploit while streaming. So, was his votes thrown out at that point? What do you think is going on here?
I mean, the people at the Overwatch League were really throwing a goddamn party when Defran got his account banned a few days before it was all announced, because that means they could not have him. They did not want him there. He is extremely toxic. He's popular, like XQC, but he's super toxic. I mean, he had been banned previously before the Overwatch League for, I think, got a whole season of the contenders, something along that lines. Like, he is so toxic that, I mean, he says he doesn't want to play in the Overwatch League, but I don't know many teams that would take him because he brings XQC level toxicity to the team. So, like, he's using that I don't want to play for the Overwatch League when the teams don't want him to actually play for them. Now, the fact that they put him on the ballot is kind of shenanigansy. Word? That's a word.
It is now.
Shenanigansy. Because, like, if they didn't want him on, and they could have easily left him off, saying that his account is not in good standing with Blizzard. Like, that's all they had to say. People would have been like, yeah, that makes complete sense. He's an asshat. Like, total makes sense. But the fact that they included him on the ballot, and then at the end we're like, oh yeah, no, he didn't win it. Be like, there's literally zero chance he didn't get the most votes.
Right.
Like zero chance. And that's a bit shady on Blizzard's part. Like all they would have to do is like you said, come out and say his account got banned a couple days prior to the voting, so it was not in good standing when the voting ended, and per our rules, we couldn't make him the lead. That's all they have to say, but they haven't come out and said anything, and it's kind of baffling because now it's turning like the community like Blizzard, why isn't he our lead? What's going on here?
Rigged, just like the draw last
Rigged.
year when US drew South Korea after there was a graphic posted before that already showed US going up against South Korea. Like, they had a graphic designer actually make a graphic, and then they drew groups for the bracket, right? And then we still ended up with South Korea. Like, wow, surprise, surprise.
It's crazy. But, like, I mean, all they have to do is be like, this is why he isn't in. His account got banned like 4 days before the standings. It was all closed, and it's like a justifiable reason because they had that rule in there, but they haven't said any of that. But I mean, I wish he was there, but Blizzard doesn't because he is toxic, and he's gonna just be like. Can you imagine, like Arrow, XQC being on the Team USA? No one can imagine XQC on Team USA. It'd be horrible for Team USA to have XQC in any form of leadership, and that's what they're trying to avoid with Defront.
Except he's Canadian, XQC.
Oh well, it's whatever. He's not on Team Canada.
Well, he's going to try out for them. I guarantee it.
Oh, he'll make the team. Canada.
And he'll probably get voted MVP, even though he doesn't deserve it. Like
that's because people don't know how to spell fly.
Yeah, that is true. And speaking of MVP votes, we got to talk about some shenanigans that are going on now as we go inside the league. So, if you were paying attention last week during the broadcast of the Overwatch League, you might have been caught off guard by the current MVP vote stand-ins. Because there were some pretty drastic changes to the top 5. And a lot of that was just due to the inclusion of China votes. So, if we look at the top 5, and I'll be honest, I haven't looked at this since Monday, but I guarantee you it's still the same. If you look at the top 5, you may have noticed that there are 3 players from the Shanghai Dragons. So let's go over the top 5 real quick. In first, we have Fearless, Tank, Shanghai Dragons. Second, Gagiri, Tank, Shanghai Dragons. Third, Fleta, DPS for Seoul Dynasty. Fourth, Jonak, DPS, NYXL. I'm not going to say support. He's not a support.
He's not. He is 100% not a support.
Damage first, support second. And fifth, Auto, offense, Shanghai Dragons. So, it's worth noting, that only 25% of the online fan vote is going towards the MVP award. The other 75% goes from the Overwatch League broadcast team vote. So, okay, let's get the big question out of the way, Adenar. Should an MVP award go to someone on a team that is potentially, depending on if they can get past Florida tonight, or right now, as a matter of fact, going 0-40?
I mean, okay, so I am a proponent of if one single person was on the worst team, but they're the reason that team even had a fighting chance, they could be MVP. Like if LeBron James was on the worst team in the NBA, he's still making that team that much better just because he's there. So like it's the most valuable player. It's not most valuable player on a team that's in contention. With that said, 3 people from the worst team in the league is just a sheer show of our population dominates your population. Mm-hmm. And I mean, this shouldn't come as a huge surprise. If any of you are NBA fans and remember Yao Ming. Yao Ming So Yao Ming dominated the NBA All-Star vote every year he was in the league. Even if he was crap, he would be the number one vote getter and all that stuff because of the sheer volume of people in China who would vote for him as MVP. Tracy McGrady, who obviously not Chinese, would benefit just as much because he was on the same team as Yao Ming. Like, he would get voted into the All-Star game because Yao Ming was his teammate and Yao Ming was Chinese. Like, it's the sheer volume of people. And when you allow voting online, it just takes that and blows it up. It's the nature of the game. It's something I've come to realize is just a fact. Like, it's gonna happen. If they ever introduced it into baseball, baseball would. The amount of U.S. born players who would get voted in as like starters in Major League Baseball would dwindle because Ichiro Suzuki or Tanaka from the Yankees or someone like that will get the votes because they just have more people over there. In Asia will just go on and vote for people. So it's going to happen regardless. Like, and this proves it. Like, 3 of the top 5 coming from a winless team. Come on. Like, Gaguri is the only who could probably even be remotely mentioned, and she's only been playing for what, one stage and a few maps. Like, so yeah, no, this is kind of a joke, but thankfully it's not based solely on online fan vote. It's
Right.
25% of it is an online fan vote. Now, do I think after all said and done, the starters or the top 5 are not going to be Shanghai Dragons, but the backups will probably be Shanghai Dragons because of it. So it's going to be, Jonak, Fleta, Fissure, people like that, and the starting spots once the broadcast team votes. But then when it comes to the backups, I think Shanghai Dragons are going to be people.
Yeah, I don't see a situation where the broadcast team is going to choose a Shanghai Dragons player for the MVP. I don't see that happening. Obviously, like, the biggest name probably missing, or one of the biggest names missing from the top 5 list as it currently stands is Carpe from the Philadelphia Fusion. Sabiobi also, from New York Excelsior. And it's also...
Carpe was number 1 for a while.
Yeah, he was. So we'll kind of see how it evolves from here. But it's like, when we look at, like, statistics and stuff from, like, China, we've in the past we talked about, like, stream viewership and how we kind of discount China because those numbers are so skewered from viewers. So I don't think we're gonna have to kind of take the same route in regards to the MVP vote-in. But the vote-in could also affect another aspect, and that is the All-Star game.
Mm-hmm.
So the All-Star weekend is going to be kicking off on Saturday, August 25th. So we're going to have, like, a day of, like, custom games between the Atlantic Division and the Pacific Division. So the All-Star game in itself will be on that Sunday. That's August 26th. So basically determine which division is the best. If you look at the standings, it's pretty one-sided. That's a completely other discussion. But... there's really, like, nothing. I don't think there's, like, anything on the line in regards to the All-Star game, like we've kind of seen in, like, some of the sports All-Star games. But right now, you're able to go online and vote for the starting 6 players who will represent the Atlantic Division and the Pacific Division. So in order to vote, you just have to go onto the Overwatch League website, make sure that you're logged into your Battle.net account, and you can build your roster. So each roster needs to have 2 players. You need, like, 2 tanks, 2 support, and, like, 2 damage/flex players. So voting ends on June 17th. That is on a Sunday. So the starting rosters will be announced the week of the 18th. We'll also have 24 additional players, 12 from each division. That will be selected by the players, coaches, casters, and Overwatch League staffers. So we'll have full rosters announced the week of June 25th. So more details on the ticket sales, custom game options, and the fan experience, things like that are going to be announced here soon. But I want to know, like, is there any specific custom game that you would want to see between the best players from these divisions?
I mean, okay, and I've said this before. I would love nothing more than to see these six guys or gals go in and do mystery. Like, I just want them to go in and be like, okay, we have 2 supports, we have 2 tanks, we have 2 damage dealers. Okay, mystery heroes. How do you deal with 3 Annas? Like,
Or 4 tanks.
you know, yeah, like, I want to see them because honestly, like you said, this literally means nothing. Like, this is all for shits and giggles. Like, I mean, people are going to have fun with it. The players are going to have fun with it. Why not? Let's have fun with it and make it mystery heroes. And I think that's what I really want. Out of the whole thing. Like, let's just have fun with it. So if they did something like mystery, or like they did super hard mode Junkenstein, or, you know, something crazy, I'd have fun rather than them just playing, you know, a regular match.
Right.
Like, that's not that fun to me. It's interesting, but it's not as fun to me.
Yeah, for me, like, the main one I want is headshot only Widowmaker. Like,
See,
we
and that would
need
be
we need
fun.
like a free-for-all deathmatch with just Widows. So we can see, like, who is the best Widowmaker in that situation. Like, we need Sabiol. We need all of the NYXL. I mean, you got Sabiola, you got Libero, you got Pine. They all play Widow. You know, you can have Saya player in there, Fleta, Linkser. You know, the list goes on and on. But I definitely want to see that. But in regards to the All-Star game, have you had a chance to cast your votes for the teams yet?
I have on one of my accounts. I haven't done all of my accounts, but I have done it on the majority of, like, so I did on my main account. I haven't done it on 2 other PC accounts.
Okay, so for my Atlantic Division starting lineup, I had DPS. I picked Carpe from the Fusion, Libero from NYXL. And that was a toss-up. I was either gonna put Libero or Sabiolbi. You can do no wrong with either. I just like Libero's flexibility a bit more than Sabiolbi's. Not to take anything away from SBB, best racer in the league by far. For the healers, I picked Jonak and Arc, so the NYXL support duo. Jonak because he's a DPS. Arc because he never dies. Like, he rarely dies, if ever. And then for tanks, I picked Fury, who is the off-tank for the London Spitfire, and Mono, main tank for the New York Excelsior. So yes, I picked 4 players from the New York Excelsior. Come at me.
I mean, I picked 2 because if you don't pick Jonas, then you're not doing a real All-Star.
Yeah, if you don't
battle.
vote for Jonak for the MVP or the All-Star game, we can't talk.
Yeah, for pure All-Star game shenanigans, I picked Pine
Okay.
because I want to see him do some crazy things. Like when we saw him on Watchpoint Gibraltar last week, I think it was, where he went that crazy behind route on the last point. You're just like, what? And they kept doing it. Like, what are you doing? Like, I want to see those kind of things. So I took Jonak and Pine. I took Carpe, obviously. I took Saya player because he's the best Widowmaker in Overwatch, probably. And then I took Muma and Raucus. Like, I think tanks for me was probably the hardest, and I think Muma is one of the fan favorites that he's good and he's a fan favorite, so it's kind of like one of those that's an obvious choice.
All right, well, moving over to the Pacific Division for my starting lineup. For tanks, I picked Fisher, LA Gladiators. I mean, who's better than Fisher? I mean,
Yep.
you could ask him, he'll tell you, straight up. For the off tank, I picked Siegel from the Dallas Fuel. So I feel like Siegel and Mickey, in this case, could both work. And I know Mickey's had, like, a rocky season, and a lot of that was just due to the main tank woes of the Dallas Fuel. And, not having the same starter for a majority of the season due to suspensions or whatever, there was a lot of stuff going on. So he was torn a lot between who he needed to protect, so that definitely hurt his early stages. But now, like, we've seen Mickey really pop off on Brigitte, which is cool. So I picked Siegel, though, because I like his game sense more than I do Mickey. So for DPS, I went Agilities, LA Valiant. Agilities is another one of those big playmakers. Very flashy play. Doesn't always work out, but I love watching him play. And for the other DPS, I picked Architect from the San Francisco Shock. I almost went Sinatra based on the flexibility.
Whoa!
Because
Whoa!
we've seen how much he can literally play like 5 or 6 heroes in this current meta. That was the main reason. But I went Architect because when we look at his stats on the Widow and the Genji, he was good at Sombra too, but like, he's basically like top 3, top 5 in every hero that he's played. So
Yeah.
Architect to me brings more power. He might not have as much flexibility, but, we look at his current meta and we don't really see a ton of Genji being played, and he does it, and he does it in spades. He doesn't slow him down at all. And then for the supports, I picked Sleepy from the San Francisco Shock and Custa from the LA Valiant. So, all in all, I think the Pacific Division was definitely the harder of the two. Just because with Atlantic, you're like, okay, like, we could, honestly, you could just pick New York Excelsior, and, it'd be hard to argue against picking anyone else outside of Carpe, honestly. But there were a lot more options with the Pacific Division, and, I made for some interesting times picking that. But I also did some picks where I had, like, unique votes per team, where I couldn't pick more than one from, like, the same team. So I did one of those too. I'm not going to share those. You can listen to Overwatch League Network to find out those picks. But go cast your votes. Maybe China will vote for all the Shanghai Dragons to start. You never know. It could happen.
Let's not go that way. Like, I'd actually pretty similar to you. I went Fissure, and then I went Mickey. I went Mickey instead of Mickey's Brigitte play kind of put me over the edge. I went Agilities. I went Taimu because I love nothing more than Taimu popping off. And this is the kind of like event where Taimu will pop off. And then I went Custa, like you did. And then I went with the fan favorite Big Goose.
The Goose is loose.
Like Big Goose is loose. Like, Taimu and Big Goose might be stretches, but I mean, they're fan favorites. They're probably going to get a lot of votes regardless. But the other 4 are legit all-stars.
Yeah. I was just paying attention to the other stream real quick to see the score line.
Yeah.
That's the thing. We'll talk about that next week. So in other news, we have the Grand Finals. Tickets went on sale a couple of weeks ago. The Overwatch League Grand Finals sold out. So more than 20,000 tickets have been sold for the Grand Finals. So we've sold out the Barclays Center. So to date, this is going to be the biggest esport event at the Barclays Center when it kicks off on July 27th. So in regards to like how long it took us to sell out, it took 2 weeks because they went on sale like May 18th. But I've heard like some people kind of like grumbling like, well, why did it take so long? And this event from this global like esports spectacle sold out in minutes. And
like League of Legends.
Right, a lot of people are comparing it to like the Invitational and shit like that. And like, yes, Overwatch League is a new hotness, but I feel like at the time, those leagues, like those events were already pretty established. And, they were also free to play on top of that too. So, that allows them to get a fan base pretty quickly overall. So, I will say this, like, selling out in itself is a huge accomplishment. Like, part of me was like, okay, like, that's a pretty big arena. Can we pack it with, 20,000 fans? And yes, we can. So, it's a good sign because, like, for the Overwatch League, this is really, like, the first time branching out outside of the Los Angeles area, since, everything is being played at the LA Arena, or the Blizzard Arena. However you want to say it. I mean, it's right outside LA. But maybe once we see a bit more of an expansion, when we truly do become global, because, like, right now, when we talk about the Overwatch League being global, we have to do air quotes, because it's global, but it's all taking place in NA. So, you kind of have to take that...
with a grain of salt.
No, it's throw for Shanghai. Yes, Mayhem should throw, so we can get...
I mean, fair enough. I mean, it's the thing is, like, Shanghai's facing a team that could get a kill in an entire map. Hashtag not bitter.
But yeah, but I want to get your thoughts on, like, well, do you have an issue with how long it took us to sell out compared to some of these other majors that people keep bringing in for comparison sakes?
Yeah, I mean, it took a lot longer than a normal, like, any of the other, not normal, I should rephrase, like any of the bigger, like League of Legends or Call of Duty, like any of those took, but this is the first time it's happened.
Right.
And we're going in, like, did League of Legends go into I don't even know the name of the stadium out in LA where the Lakers play. Did they go in there year one and sell it out? No, they didn't. Overwatch League is going in and selling out the Barclays Center, which is a professional basketball stadium, and they're selling it out a while before the actual event happens. So I actually put it ahead of games like League of Legends or Call of Duty because of that. Like, I mean, I could be totally wrong, and League of Legends could have sold out the LA Stadium season one, but I highly doubt it. And Overwatch League has exceeded all expectations. All expectations.
Absolutely.
And this is no different. And anyone who says anything else is lying to themselves. Like, they've exceeded viewership. Like, they dipped below 100,000 viewers. They were only projecting like 40,000 per game at the start of season.
So for instance, like right now, there's like 125,000, and I bet you that number's gonna go up here in the next couple of minutes.
Oh yeah. Like, it's Shanghai Mayhem. It's the let's get them a win versus I suck. Yeah, and the Mayhem are I suck. I'm very bitter against the Mayhem. And it's one of those things where they've exceeded all expectations, the Overwatch League has, and they continue to do so. And any of the haters who think that, like, they didn't sell it out in a matter of minutes like League of Legends does now. Well, League of Legends has been around for years.
Right.
Like, we're not at that point yet. So, just shut up and deal with it. You wanna count out Blizzard games from esports and be like, they're not good enough for us esports players, they're not good enough to be compared with League of Legends or Call of Duty. Shut up. We are. And Overwatch League is proving that. And this helped prove that. We did better than you did in year one, and you're bitter. You are just a bitter, esports fan. So I get like a little pissed at esports fans who are like, I can't believe they did it. No. We've exceeded all expectations. Shut up.
Well, looking at this game, we're going into time bank.
We are going into time bank.
Since we are at times mentioning Shanghai Dragons as they are on their quest for that #1 win, we got an update on the Dragons in regards to their roster. So the Shanghai Dragons and Flex Tank MG have decided to part ways. So MG started the season as the start and off tank for the Shanghai Dragons. And he played in every single match for the Dragons in the first 2 stages. Then when, these Korean additions came in, mainly Kaguri in this case, because she is off-tank, his playtime basically, poof, it's gone. They were playing Kaguri because she was an upgrade. So the last time we saw MG was Stage 3, Week 1, when they played the Valiant, where he played 2 of the maps in that series. So in the past, he was kind of used as kind of that flex role. He would fill in as the Roadhog player when they were running a lot of triple tank, which at the time was probably the best look that we saw out of the Dragons. It still wasn't impactful enough for them to secure a win back then, but his Roadhog play was pretty good when you compared him to the other people that were currently on that roster. So, since this is, well past, the sign-in window and things like that, he's not going to be eligible to play for another team yet until, if he gets picked up for, the next season all in all. So, I can't say, I'm overly surprised to see him kind of part ways with the team, just knowing that he's not going to be in that starting rotation. And, Dragons aren't a full roster either, so I don't really see a situation where they were going to be playing him over Kaguri, just based off of what we have seen.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things where Kaguri came in, and people are, he wasn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but MG was not Korean. So I think it was
Chinese.
Yeah, so I think it was a language. When you have your two tanks, and you have your main, your best tank is Korean, you want your other tank to also be Korean because of language barriers. You see that with the Gladiators right now with Fissure. You want your other tank to be able to communicate as best they can. And that's why it wasn't MG was bad. All right, I'm sorry. Shanghai was basically bad. But they came up, he wasn't god awful. But they needed to move forward, and they focused around Kaguri, and they needed someone who can support the best they can, and they need someone who speaks the same language. So he just didn't get the playtime, and it was just one of those things where I don't think there's any bitterness between the two, between MG and Shanghai. It was just one of those, we both know what's going on. Let's try and both find a better fit. So yeah, I think this is better for both teams.
Absolutely, and a bit of an update in regards to home cities for the Overwatch League. So I'm not gonna say it's really an update because this has kind of been the rumor, but it is a confirmation of the plans at least. So the Overwatch League is looking to move franchises to home cities by 2020. So I'll put it at the start of Season 3. So this basically lines up with what we've been hearing in the past, in terms of the rumor mill. And, it also lines up with, the LA Valiant, because they had announced that they were going to be having the Microsoft Theater as their home arena. I can't remember. I think that was announced, back in January. But that deal didn't kick in until, 2020. So the stars have aligned, essentially, in that regard. So, in a past interview, Nate Nanzer had said that, Season 2 was all to be played at the Blizzard Arena. So, more of the same. So it's at least a confirmation. So we'll know at the earliest it should be Season 3. I nearly said Stage 3. I had to stop myself.
You almost pulled it.
And I brought it back. So that being said, in regards to the home and away aspect of the travel-in, we still don't really know how exactly this is going to go down. one of the ideas being proposed is like having a roadshow where you'd basically send all of the teams from one of the divisions to one particular city that would act as a host. So, like in this model, like let's say for the Pacific, they would travel through the Midwest. Yes.
Yes.
The West
When we
Coast.
get a Chicago
When we
team.
get a Chicago team. So Midwest, West Coast, and through some of the Asian cities, and then for the Atlantic, they would travel through the East Coast and then to Europe. So as we know, as we talked about, the Overwatch League is looking to expand to 18 teams for the start of Season 2, with obviously the franchise prices seeing a jump from $30 million to $60 million. And it's worth noting, like, a lot of these team ownership groups have investments in different arenas and venues. So, there's always a potential that, they could just go to these areas that they're invested in as well. So, yeah, I mean, there's really not much else of the story, but it's nice to actually know, like, for sure, Season 3 is going to be the time when we start to see it. How we get there, still, we're not sure. But I do like the idea of having a host city. That's something that, I've brought up time and time again. I feel like that's probably the best way to go about doing it. That way, you're not kind of splitting it up where you have, like, 6 teams going to, like, 4 different places or anything like that, or 3 in this case.
I mean, yeah, no, it's we all knew it was coming, and next season, or the 2019 season, is too soon for it to actually happen, because we're going to get 4 more teams probably. So 2020 makes sense, like you said, with the LA team announcing their deal with the Microsoft thing and, making their transition away. I'm looking forward most to when they announce the Chicago team in the offseason. And then I can come down to Chicago and I can hang out with you and we can geek out during a Chicago game, because we will be both. So everyone knows the LA Valiant Shanghai Dragons guy that's in the front row for like every match. That will be me and Totem when we get a Chicago team. I might get a Chicago style like cheesehead, and I will go to every match I can. And like, so I think the traveling roadshow is a good idea, because it kind of reduces okay, we're going to go to this city, then fly back for the next match, fly back. Like the back and forth that would happen. A traveling roadshow is probably the best way to go, especially for the teams over in like Asia and teams over in Europe, places like that. Like the traveling roadshow, you need to go that route for those. You only have, we'll probably only have 3 teams in Europe and 3 teams in Asia or that region. And you need to have something like that. Like you can't be like, okay, we're flying to, Korea for this match, and then we have to fly back to LA on Saturday. Like it's not feasible. So this all makes complete sense. So I like it as long as they stop in Chicago when we have a Chicago team.
Yeah, really, like, the other way to look at it, like, let's say you have multiple, like, more than 2, right? Where you're splitting them up into more groups of traveling. You have to remember, like, that's that many more production, that has to go into this. So you need more production teams. You're traveling to more locations, so you could see a price differential in regards to the cost there as well. So, having a host city definitely makes the most sense. And, looking forward to hearing more about it. And, guys, I know I think we're like 2.5 hours in at this point. And,
yeah.
I know...
We're way over the over short I predicted before the show.
Yeah.
We're way past that.
So, what we're going to do is we're not going to go over the Overwatch League results from Stage 4 Week 3 or the takeaways. Because honestly, we could probably talk for another 30 to 45 minutes before wrapping up.
God, yes,
I don't want to do that to you guys. So, if you want to listen to our takeaways and the results, in case you miss any games, go listen to Overwatch League Network. Obviously, we cover Overwatch League specifically, and that was released on Tuesday, which was yesterday. So go check that out. You can find it on on our website, owlenshow.com. So go check that out if you haven't already. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up because it's been one of those weeks, guys. I know, like, there was really no way to really constrict the amount of topics, and we had some pretty lengthy discussions on some of them because some brought the spice. So that being said, let's move on to our community corner before we close things out. So Adonar, do you have anyone that you would like to shout out this week?
I want to give a shout out to Spider. Even though he is the bane of my existence, I want to give a shout out to him for he's the one who kind of put together the 2 4-minute clips that we have on our YouTube channel. One regarding Symmetra, which was a lot of fun to put together. I'm sure if you read the chat during the thing, you can realize some of the shenanigans that happened. And then he also did the video that we played during our episode about Lunar Colony. So I want to give a shout out to him. He did a great job. Go watch it. We'll go over where you can watch it later. But shout out to Spider for putting that all together. So how about you, Totem? You got any shout outs?
We're going to map 5. Freaking
Oh yeah, I saw that.
All right, so in regards to my shoutouts, I want to shout out our community, right? So I was looking at our Twitch page earlier. We hit 1,000 Twitch views today,
Yay.
which is fantastic. You know, we're not like a very old Twitch channel yet, which is great. We've seen a lot of views coming into our YouTube as well. A lot thanks to us branching out in regards to the content we're releasing, which Spider has been working very hard on. So expect us to branch out more and cover general stuff, because really, like, with OWLN, we're covering all facets of the game. And, you know, we've also seen a pretty big jump in regards to this particular show over on iTunes. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in each and every week. I don't normally talk publicly about, like, the numbers that we do, but we definitely notice, and we thank you for listening to us when you can. That being said, I know we got a review. I don't think they left an actual review, but it was a 5-star review, so thank you to whoever that listener may be. But let's close out the show. Let's see if Shanghai can pick up the first win as we enter this map 5. Woo! I mean, this tonight could be the night. Like, I'm excited. And the viewers have jumped like 15,000 from the last time I noted it.
Oh yeah, no, like we're at almost 100,000.
I bet Twitter has to be blowing up right now. Like, we're one map away. All right. So if you guys want to help out the show, one of the best ways to do that is to leave us a review over on iTunes. Feedback, constructive criticism is I don't know why I can't talk. Probably because we've been on for 2.5 hours. Constructive criticism is always welcomed. That will offer us insight on how we can make for a better listening experience for you guys. We have our Pick'em League. I'm not going to keep plugging it just because it's so late into the season. But best of luck to everyone, the rest of the stage, and for the end of season stand-ins. We got some great stuff. We have Overwatch Recall. That is our podcast directory specifically for Overwatch content. So that's, general Overwatch, Overwatch League, Path to Pro. So you can find that on our website, owlnshow.com/OWRecall. Episodic listings of all of the new podcast episodes are released every single Sunday evening. So be sure to follow Overwatch Recall on Twitter at OWRecall. And our podcast will be starting soon. In regards to community events, we got 2 coming up. We got Game Night, June 23rd at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. So, community custom games, competitive rule set. We'll pick captains, we'll pick teams, and we'll stream them live here on our channel, which will be a lot of fun, or cause you to have nightmares if you show up in Spiders on the opposite ends. We have our
No, that's just me. That's just me that happens to.
It might happen to other people. We don't know yet. If you have tremors due to Spider, please reach out to me, and I will put him in a timeout corner or something. Maybe I'll put him on the meme board for Overwatch League Network. I don't know yet. We'll think of something. But we do have a tournament coming up. That is a 3v3 lockout elimination tournament. That is on June 30th, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So all that will be streamed here live on our channel. We'll be casting those matches. It'll be myself, Totally Drunk, and Slambo. We've done some tournaments in the past together, so I'm looking forward to shoutcasting more of that. We'll also be doing giveaways for the tournament, so you can find the website at challenge.com/OWLN. So grab a few friends, sign up for the tournament, and if you need any help getting registered, please reach out to me. I will gladly guide you through it. So we hope to see you guys there for that. But Edinar, as we wind down here, where can our listeners get a hold of us over on the interwebs and social media, all of that good stuff?
All right, so you can first reach us at hndoverwatch@gmail.com. You can reach us over on the Twitter sphere at @HNDOverwatch. You can watch us presently, if you have 2.5 hours of free time, on Twitch at twitch.tv/OWLN show. So we're Twitch affiliate. Come support us, subscribe to us, help us out. We do stream quite a lot. So we have the Overwatch League Network Mondays, 7 p.m. Pacific. Heroes Never Die Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. The back cap is Thursdays at 7 p.m. Pacific. And then generally Spider will stream on the channel on Fridays. Totem will stream on Saturdays. Shenanigans will ensue. I'm impressed by myself because that's the first time in like 3 weeks I have not screwed up the order and the times that people stream. So we got that going for us. Over on Discord, you can reach us on discord.me/OWLN show. And the big one is YouTube. So on YouTube, we have the Overwatch League Network. That's where we have our 4-minute videos, like a 4-minute video on Symmetra, a 4-minute video on Horizon Colony, that you can come watch. Now, if you go watch, please subscribe to us so we can make things easier for everyone involved. That we get a custom URL if we just get a few more subscribers. So we just need some more subscribers. We get a custom URL, and you don't have to type in the 1EX245789. Like, you don't have to type in that stuff. So we'll get a custom URL if we get a few more subscribers. So go over to the YouTube channel, subscribe. We'll have our videos, we'll have VODs. You can see my glorious beard in the making on the YouTube stream. So go ahead and do that. You can reach me personally on Twitter at Edinar, EDANAR, Overwatch. And then I also have started streaming on Twitch at Edinar. I've been streaming. I've been streaming WoW and Hearthstone and some Overwatch. So basically all Blizzard games. And that is at Edinar OW. So come follow me. Totem, where can they follow you on the social media?
Well, I am over on the Twitter. That is at Little Blue Bird. At Totally Drunk CTR, where you could generally find me. It's one of those nights. Like,
It's one of those. You're like, all right, we've been out there for like almost.
Words in is so hard. Oh my gosh. But you can find me on Twitter at Totally Drunk CTR, generally trolling Slambo, calling him out or yelling into the audio abyss, wherever he may be, or poking fun at Bob, which I tend to do quite a bit. Or
It's
just
so easy.
general shenanigans. And if I'm on Twitch, it will be here on our channel. Minimum 3 nights a week, sometimes depending on if there's a computer not being occupied, 4 times a week. But with that being said, guys, we're gonna cut out. We're gonna go catch the rest of this Mat 5 between the Shanghai Dragons and the Florida Mayhem. See if the Dragons can potentially turn it around. It's not
their
looking.
best chance.
It's. I'll be honest. Like right now, it's not looking good.
They
But
just took the point. They have the point.
they do. But guys,
So,
we will see you guys hopefully tomorrow on the back cap when we talk about the latest Path to Pro news. But if not, Monday, Wednesday, whenever you come back, we'll be happy to have you. And yeah, guys, have a good night.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Thank you for listening to Heroes Never Die. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at HND Overwatch and join us on Discord at discord.me/OWLN show.